nobody stopping me. Ain't nobody stopping me. Nobody stopping me. Ain't nobody stopping me.
I try to erase you, but you're written in ink. I really can't face you, but you're all that I see. It just makes me mad that I want you back, but I can't stop thinking about it. I'm stuck living without it. That look on your face, how it made me feel safe. Now I can't stop thinking about it, but I'm better off without it. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside this tension. Call us a learning lesson. Ooh, 'cause there's a better me at the end of all these feelings. Call us a learning lesson. Everything's clearer when you're not in the way. But in the mirror, I still see your face. It just makes me mad that I want you back, but I can't stop thinking about it. I'm stuck living without it. That look on your face, how it made me feel safe. Now I can't stop thinking about it, but I'm better off without it. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside this tension. Call us a learning lesson. Ooh, 'cause there's a better me at the end of all these feelings. Call us a learning lesson. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside
Hello everyone and welcome to the first day of the KDL Preseason 2 postseason. I'm State, joined with me is Peter, and today we have the upper and lower bracket finals of the KDL. How you doing, Peter?
I am doing great, State. Thanks for asking. It's always exciting to show up to KDL, but today is even more special, as you said, State, because we finally begin our postseason.
Yeah, we've wrapped up the round-robin format. 8 teams have fought long and hard over the past couple of weeks, but now only 4 teams survive, and one of those teams will be booking a ticket to the grand finals. One of those teams will be eliminated today as we're getting our journey started here in the postseason. I couldn't be more excited because we've had some interesting results so far here in the KDL Preseason 2. Some new teams catching life as we get a quick overview of the team match main stage. We are now in the postseason part of this format, so we're going to be starting with the lower bracket semifinals today. Of course, the losing team of that semifinals will be eliminated from the tournament. The winning team will advance to the final qualifying match for the grand finals, and then, Peter, the upper bracket finals.
As you said, State, semifinals, there's a lot of pressure because that 4th team is out of contention, while in the upper bracket, you still have a second chance the next day. And as we take a look at the standings of the main stage so far, of course, it was Seongnam ROX coming in first above Liiv SANDBOX due to their round differentials. And then KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation, same story there. They're 4-3 in set scores, but the round wins gave KWANGDONGFREECS that 3rd place spot.
Yeah, Seongnam ROX being the first seed here against Liiv SANDBOX is probably not something that a lot of fans predicted after KDL Preseason 1. ROX esports, while they looked very good in KDL Preseason 1, they did seem to have some holes in their play. I mean, it was time and time again that they had to rely on Jung, their ace, to win in the ace match because they struggled so much in item mode over the course of the entire preseason. But here in KDL Preseason 2, especially with the addition of Ding, and just the rising skill of the team as a whole, they have been able to solidify their position not just in speed and not just with ace matches, but also in item as one of the best pro teams to play in item mode. And as a result, here we are now in the postseason. ROX Esports is the #1 seed, and the reigning champions, the FREECS, they're all the way down in the lower bracket.
Yeah, and that's why we have this race history here between KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation. That is going to be our first matchup today. And on that match 24 of July 9th, it went down all the way to an ace match. In speed, Sensation won, and an item, that's where KWANGDONGFREECS had a 3-1 of their own, and then Hojun with a heroic finish for Sensation.
Yeah. As we have a quick recap of that, perfect timing as always, Peter. This is Hojun versus Sungbin in that ace match. As Hojun just barely won this one by a hair on Glacier Extreme Stadium to deliver Sensation the win. And I mean, it was a hard-fought battle, and I gotta say, over the course of this entire KDL Preseason 2, in addition to the rise of ROX Esports as the #1 seed team coming into the postseason, the story of Hojun, the Emperor from the original Kart Rider, regaining his form here in the KDL has really been one of my major takeaways.
Yeah, you look at that play right there from Hojun. It was so sick, and that's what allowed him to come in first, because in the end, Sungbin tried to come back, but because Hojun was able to buy so much time with his phenomenal lines, that's what gave him the edge that we keep seeing Hojun have this preseason too. He keeps coming in the top ranks.
Yeah, we've seen this not just in ace matches, but also in the team speed matches overall, because, Hojun, he's #2 in the team rankings when it comes to individual play, and that means that, he's finishing ahead of basically everybody in every single lobby. He's a critical part of why Sensation is winning most of their speed matches. They have one of the best speed records in the KDL coming into today, as well as the FREECS, which is no surprise considering they are here in the postseason. But, Hojun, a lot of people in KDL Preseason 1, they were wondering exactly where he's going to be here in Preseason 2. Is he done? Is it going to be too hard for him to really come out of the break that he took from Kart Rider? But that's not where he's at right now. He's looking to be a true speed ace.
Exactly. That's what allowed his team Sensation to become the 4th place spot from our main stage as we take a look at the results. Of course, we saw KWANGDONGFREECS. They took a lot of ace match losses as of recent that made them fall to 3rd place. Whereas for Sensation, it feels like their performance overall, it was kind of like a mixed bag of wins and losses, but in the end, they were able to have enough wins to stand over Aura in the standings.
Yeah, Sensation has been solid pretty much from start to finish, and you could really see it in the set differential, which is, of course, I think the tie-breaking factor here with them seating above the FREECS, in fact, is looking at the point of the range in team speed. Desert Construction Chaos probably going to be an important map that I'm sure we're going to see here in the best of 7 format of the postseason. Both teams undefeated so far on that track.
Absolutely. It's going to be a first pick worthy track, as you put it, State. And of course, Mine 3 shortcuts is another one that we have to talk about because a perfect win has been achieved by Guangdong Freaks, and that is not an easy feat.
No, not at all, but you know, it's another map that Sensation is very good on, although Kwangdong Freaks, they love to first pick Mine 3 shortcuts. Sensation, as of yet, undefeated, 3-0, one of the best teams here in the KDL preseason on 3 shortcuts. And Glacier Extreme Stadium, it's very much the same story. You know, the Freaks, they're 4-1, which is a fantastic record, and although Sensation and the team matches haven't been able to deliver 0-2 overall on that track, they did beat the Freaks in the ace match.
Absolutely. As we take a look at those ace matches you just mentioned, State, it was Hojin winning against Seongbin in that match 24 of the main stage. And Guangdong Freaks overall, they have quite a lot of losses in their bags for preseason 2, coming in at a 40% win rate in total, while Sensation, out of the 4 matches they played, they won twice and lost twice.
Yeah, the ace match victories have been elusive here for the Freaks. I'm surprised that they're all the way down at 40%. As you know, I think of the Freaks as just being a team that's basically star-studded. They could send out any single player on their roster, and they can contest with the best and the best in any kind of ace match. But as it is, in fact, 2-3 overall in KDL Preseason 2, it's kind of been their Achilles heel.
Yeah, as you put it, it's really surprising given that this team, they're so confident in their roster that they're able to maintain a 4-man roster, and our viewers as well putting a lot of faith in that 4-man roster that did wonders in Preseason 1. It's got to be the defending champion buff.
Yeah, almost 2/3 of fans here in Korea choosing Kwangdong Freaks over Team Sensation. In fact, a lot of the pro teams as well, or a potential ROX Esports and Seraphic, all choosing the Freaks to take either a 2-0 win or an ace match win. Only Liiv, SANDBOX, and Showtime standing behind Sensation. Now, I got to ask you, Peter, how do you feel about this one? Who do you think is going to win and take it?
I see Liiv, SANDBOX there going for a Sensation, and I feel like Liiv, SANDBOX is up to something. They know some secret stuff, so I'm going with Sensation on this one.
Well, I actually have the exact same view. Yeah, Sensation. I think that they're going to probably be able to take this one, maybe in an ace match. Maybe we'll see Hojin come out, as I think we have a preview ready of the upcoming match here between ROX Esports as well. We'll see if we have that one coming. But yeah, it's going to be a really exciting day here. Yeah, Seongnam ROX versus Liiv, SANDBOX. Of course, going to be main stage match 25. This race history, Liiv, SANDBOX barely winning out, going the distance, speed and item, 3-2 in each of those.
Absolutely. If a single match was turned around there in either speed or item in favor of ROX, we could have had an ace match, and those ace matches are always what kind of just completely throws all the variance in the air, because that one win determines it all. Fortunately, Liiv, SANDBOX, they were able to close it out before that happened.
Absolutely, and here we have a recap of one of these matches between Liiv, SANDBOX, and ROX Esports. Of course, this will be the upper bracket finals that's going to take place after the lower bracket finals earlier today. As you know, Liiv, SANDBOX, they have just been so solid overall. The one time they did meet ROX, even coming away with that victory, avoiding, as you said, that ace match, which is oh so dangerous against the ROX Esports team, which in KDL Preseason 1 was able to rely on Jung, who is as of yet still undefeated in ace matches. But even here in KDL Preseason 2, with the addition of Ding, who is not only the #1 speed racer when it comes to team speed, but also has proven to be a reliable ace match pick for them.
Absolutely. Out of the 2 ace matches that he's played, he's won both of them. And one of them was an opponent like Pool from Guangdong Freaks. So absolutely a lot of confidence in the bag here for Seongnam ROX as far as the ace matches go. And I feel like Seongnam ROX, they're kind of just looking at their one loss this season to be just a little choke up. Outside of that, they've had a phenomenal showing, and I'm sure they're not worried going against a giant like Liiv, SANDBOX.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very nervous, especially considering how clutch they were in the most critical moments of KDL Preseason 1, and even here in KDL Preseason 2 is, you know, Liiv, SANDBOX, although they are the only team that has been able to defeat ROX here in Preseason 2, I mean, the wins just speak for themselves, especially there in the ace matches. They have Jung to rely on. They also have Ding, who, as I said, has proved to be a formidable ace match pick. And, I mean, they can just kind of play based on whatever the track is going to be. Their strongest player, and I think they have a good chance of taking this one.
Absolutely. And this is what's surprising about Seongnam ROX as a team, is that in Preseason 1, they've had a great speed compared to their item, but in Preseason 2, that got even better. And then for Team Item, it was kind of looking really bad in Preseason 1. You can see the win rates below 25%, but now in Preseason 2, above 50.
Yeah, the change in the team item meta has really favored ROX Esports. Something about this more aggressive, highly highly attack-based meta gels with them very well. And so here we get a quick look at the item blocks ranking. Actually, Dalda and Byung-Soo for Liiv SANDBOX, the top 2 players there in item blocks overall. Over a third as Liiv SANDBOX actually dominating that leaderboard. 4 players in the top 7, pretty incredible. But ROX Esports, you know, they might not be as good as Liiv SANDBOX historically in the team item matches, but they definitely have improved.
But our viewers are saying historically Liiv SANDBOX is better, so we're going to believe in them again today. And who can blame the fans for that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very safe pick here. Even a lot of these pro teams choosing Liiv SANDBOX over ROX Esports. In fact, KWANGDONGFREECS, Aura, and Potential all thinking it's going to go to a 2-0 win. No ace match needed here in this best of 7. And that would surprise me. I don't know exactly who's going to take this one between ROX Esports and Liiv SANDBOX, but I feel like it's probably going to go to an ace match.
Absolutely, and the fans are hoping to see that as well, because a lot of the times you would want your team to win, but it feels so much better when you have that story build-up of going to the ace match. As we're going to take a look at KWANGDONGFREECS first.
Yeah, it's time to introduce the teams that are going to be competing in the lower bracket finals. Now, of course, one of these teams will be eliminated at the end of today. They are fighting for the chance to move on to the last qualifying match before the grand finals, where they will meet the loser of the upper bracket finals that takes place later today. And KWANGDONGFREECS, I mean, with their 4-man roster, World, Spear, Cool, and Seongnam, coming into KDL Preseason 2, they always identified as, World is our ace and the rest of us are runners. But here in KDL Preseason 2, with their increased success at item mode, they've kind of changed that mentality a little bit. They're like, you know what? We're not 3 runners at an ace. We're 3 hybrid players at an ace because we're strong in all aspects of our game.
Meanwhile, Sensation, the opponent of KWANGDONGFREECS today, this is a team that in Preseason 1, many people were disappointed by, because despite having such a good roster, they weren't able to put together results. In Preseason 2 this time, they have made it to the postseason, and Hojun, looking at his best right now, all he really needs from Percent, Guard, and Joker is to be that trustworthy support. Hojun, he's taking that role of the speed ace right now for Sensation. He has such a phenomenal average rank.
Yeah, Hojun's return to form this season has been absolutely phenomenal, and Sensation's going to need to be able to rely on him to continuously deliver those high place finishes and team speed, and also come up with some sneaky plays in team item if they want to emerge victorious here today against the legendary KWANGDONGFREECS, who, as they say, the challenge of the defending champions, postseason breakthrough begins, as they will have to win not only here today, but also in the grand finals should they want to make it a repeat championship performance.
Yep, and as you take a look at the speed average rank overall for the team, it was World having that 4th place holding, while 3 other members, they're kind of just adapting.
We don't lose to opponents we've lost to before. I like that mentality by the Freaks. You can beat us once, but can't beat us twice. We'll see if that rings true today, as a lot of fans, as we saw before, about 2/3 of fans in total expecting the Freaks to emerge victorious from this one, despite Hojun's resurgence here in KDL Preseason 2, and I gotta say, they absolutely are the favorites here.
Yeah, that was a very bold statement from the KWANGDONGFREECS, but as you put it, State, they absolutely own up to that confidence. And as we take a look at Sensation, their opponents, I am sure that they're going to be full of confidence right now as well, because of Hojun. He has a 2nd place in the speed average ranking.
And with Hojun's reliable bodyguard, first postseason victory is possible. I like that play on words there. And it really is true, coming into team speed mode especially, they can't rely on just Hojun to carry them to a victory. Percent and Guard especially are going to have to be able to shore up that middle rank and support them to the best of their ability for them to emerge victorious here. And just some nice words coming out of Team Sensation. Great work this season. I mean, truly is. Not just for Sensation, but also for the Freaks, getting here to the postseason yet again and trying to start that journey to that grand final.
Absolutely. I feel like being humble in a moment like that is also a great way to show your confidence. So I love the little chit-chat between the 2 teams we had, but now we are moving on to our picks and bans for speed.
Yeah, I'm curious what the picks and bans are going to be. Now, it looks like KWANGDONGFREECS do have speed priority here, as that has been their selection.
Right.
Or actually, no, that means that Sensation actually took the item mode priority, if I'm not mistaken, being the higher seed. So very interesting decision here, as KWANGDONGFREECS will have 4 out of the 7 tracks available to pick. Still waiting to hear what the first pick is going to be, as it seems like the team is still delivering.
Oh.
It's going to be Construction Chaos. This is the map that, if I'm not mistaken, both these teams are as of yet undefeated on, and you actually called there in the pre-show.
Right.
That we'll likely see this as the first pick. Nice one. Well done, Peter.
Thank you, State. Absolutely. It was easy to predict in the sense that this is the track that Guangdong Freaks first picked the most, along with for a Zigzag Timberland. So I wonder what the approach to that from Sensation is going to be, but I feel like as far as the picks go, it's most likely Zigzag Timberland actually for Sensation here. No!
Oh, Singapore Circuit. This is a map that they haven't really picked very often. In fact, they've only played on it once so far. Of course, undefeated on that. KDF went 1-1 this preseason on WKC Singapore Circuit, one of the new tracks that we have here in the KDL. And yeah, I gotta say, the pick so far surprising me a little bit. Singapore Circuit, as we saw, you know, it's something that they haven't really gotten a lot of games on so far, as Glacier Extreme Stadium is going to be ban number 1 here from Team Sensation, and I think that's a very good ban. I was actually surprised that the Freaks didn't choose this as their first pick before that the ban could come out on it, because this is a map that, I mean, Extreme Stadium, I should say, the Freaks are 4-1 overall so far in this preseason, whereas Sensation, as of yet, 0-2. They haven't been able to get a single win on that track, so a little bit of an interesting choice to opt for Construction Chaos instead of Extreme Stadium. And now, pick number 3 coming through, Peter, it's going to be Village Boom Hill Tunnel.
Village Boom Hill Tunnel is the track that Guangdong Freaks play the most, along with the band Glacier Extreme Stadium. They played it 5 times in total, and they won 3 times, lost twice, as well as the band coming out of Guangdong Freaks on Mine 3 Shortcuts. I do like that band because so far Sensation, they are 3-0 on it.
Yeah, it's their best track, I think, so far here in this preseason, although Sensation, they don't seem to specialize in individual tracks quite as much as the Freaks do. You know, the Freaks absolutely dominant on Construction Chaos and Extreme Stadium, as WKC Japan Circuit comes in as the 4th pick here for Team Sensation. Both teams undefeated on Japan Circuit, but not a very large sample size. For Sensation, just 2 wins out of 2 games, and, oh, excuse me, for the Freaks, just one map play.
Yeah, and then we're going to see the second band coming out from Sensation. It's going to be for Zigzag Timberland, which is very interesting because this is one of the most played tracks by Sensation. I guess they were putting respect on the fact that when Guangdong Freaks played in Zigzag Timberland, they went 2-0 on it, undefeated as of now.
Yeah, it is a very surprising band, though, considering that it was their first pick in the plurality of their games. 42% of the series that Sensation picked in Team Speed and KDL Preseason 2 was on Zigzag Timberland, but really respecting the skill of Kwangdong Freeks here, as Mine Winding Slopes is going to be the band for the Freaks. And the pick coming in from KDF as round 5 will be World Tour Terracotta Twister, a track that neither team's really been able to find too much success with.
Yeah, I feel like this is a track that teams tend to not really shy away from because they've played this track so many times. Everyone knows how to play around the tombs, but at the end of the day, when you have players crashing into each other on those sharp turns, that's what create the variances that some teams might want to avoid. However, Guangdong Freaks, they're not scared of it.
Yeah, it can be a little concerning if you're going up against a team because of those collisions, because of those tight inner lines, especially the tomb can come back to bite you. As World Tour New York Rally will be the selection here for Team Sensation in map 6, and an almost instant pick for round number 7 is going to be WKC Brazil Circuit coming out of the Freaks. The coaching staff and players, I suppose, very confident that that's the track they want to play on as the final one. As you know, we have our map selected now, Peter. Very interesting. Who do you give the edge on after this draft? Because I feel like it's a little bit better for the Freaks, but it's hard to say. It feels quite even still.
The fact that Sensation picked World Tour New York Rally when they're 0-3 on it, that does concern me as well, State, making me feel like the edge might be for Guangdong Freaks right now in terms of who might have had a better draft slightly.
Yeah, but it's possible that they have, you know, looked over at the VODs of them competing in those matches, looked at the replays and decided that, you know what, this is something that we can improve. We don't have to, you know, continuously underperform on this one. Maybe we'll come through with some new lines, some new builds, and have a better performance, as we're now switching into the item mode draft selection. Guangdong Freaks getting the first pick here will be Mine Magma Cavern. Oh, excuse me, Sensation with the first pick there. Going to be Mine Magma Cavern as track number 1.
Interesting. I thought it would be maybe Glacier Shark's Wake because Sensation played on it 5 times and they picked it quite frequently, but switching it up and Guangdong Freaks gonna respond with Desert Pharaoh's Pass, which has been a good track for them. They played it once and they won that match.
Yeah, and Sensation as of yet, no victories yet on Pharaoh's Pass, but only one track play so far. As I guess KWANGDONGFREECS feel comfortable playing on that map, regardless of the small sample size across the board, is Village Clock Tower Crossing, one of the other village maps. Going to be the ban coming out from Team Sensation, and the ban for KWANGDONGFREECS, World Tour London Night. Very good selection from them, I gotta say. The Sensation is 4-1. It's the most wins they have on any map in particular here in item mode, is World Tour London Night.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of these picks and bans are coming out, and we're seeing Village Town Hall as the second pickup for Sensation. And Town Hall is a track where they've managed to find very good success. They played 2 matches, they won twice, but KWANGDONGFREECS, they're also no stranger to that track. They played it 3 times and won twice.
Yeah, Brody's Gloom actually going to be the selection here for KWANGDONGFREECS. I guess this is probably because, Sensation just really hasn't gotten a lot of games on this track so far here in KDL Preseason 2, so maybe it's not a priority that they've been practicing, is perhaps the thought process there for the KWANGDONGFREECS. It's not one of their best tracks here in item mode. Factory Brody's Gloom, overall they're 2-3, and as Sensation has played zero instances of this track so far in KDL Preseason 2. It's kind of interesting in terms of what their plan might be.
That's what I actually like about it, the fact that KWANGDONGFREECS is pushing Sensation out of their comfort zone and forcing them to play in a track that they've never played before in item mode in Brody's Gloom. And of course, the second ban now coming out for the Freaks is going to be Polar Halfpipe.
Yeah, interesting selection there. I suppose KWANGDONGFREECS is not feeling as confident here on Halfpipe. Of course, it can be tricky with the upper level shortcut and also, the increased propagation of attack items and water balloons already being so effective on Polar Halfpipe because of how narrow it is through many of those corridors. And Mind Motherload now the ban for Team Sensation.
I do like that ban there. I feel like they haven't really had a good time in the Mind Mother load as of recent. So they're just going to go ahead and ban it, make sure that their opponent won't pick it up.
And now Sensation has 2 out of the last 3 picks here, so they're kind of going into a deep think and trying to decide exactly what they want to play on. As you can see the players on Sensation really just discussing this amongst each other, and Glacier Shark's Wake actually going to be the pick here.
Yeah, I'm surprised it survived this long, so that is going to be a bit of a no-brainer pickup for Sensation, as it is their most picked track in item so far. And for KWANGDONGFREECS, they do have some good picks available, like Village Town Hall perhaps, where they've had quite a lot of experience playing here in Preseason 2. But it feels like a lot of these track choices are going not off of just results in Preseason 2 main stage, but perhaps off of scrims as well, because we're seeing some surprising picks today.
Yeah, and I think Sphinx's Riddle here is a nice pick for the KWANGDONGFREECS, considering that Sensation is 0-2 here on this track now. Now we're kind of getting into the bottom of the barrel here in terms of item mode and where these teams are comfortable with it, with round 6 and round 7 picks. Is KDF, although they don't have the best record here on Desert Sphinx's Riddle, your opponents don't really either, as of yet, unable to pick up a win.
And there it is. The final track for Sensation is going to be Forest Mushroom Caves. And I feel like that pickup is going to be a bit of a wild card here. They haven't had the best time in it, but I also feel like they didn't really hesitate much in picking that one up. So I like that confidence showing up from Sensation.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer pick for them as round number 7. There really was only 2 tracks for them to choose, and Forest Mushroom Caves going to be the selection from them, despite really not having the best record on it. Maybe it's something that they have been able to practice a little bit between their last match here in the KDL and now day 1 of the postseason.
Yeah, I feel like the draft phase for item mode went pretty evenly. I think both teams, they were able to ban out tracks that they don't want to play in at all, and also take some of the tracks that they feel really strongly in, and this is going to be a really close, evenly matched item mode.
I feel like it should be. I think if I had to choose, I would say in speed mode, I would probably give KWANGDONGFREECS a little bit of an edge there. Just given the way that the tracks have gone here, looking at the speed track list, I think they're very comfortable on Construction Chaos. Singapore Circuit, I'm not sure how good that's actually going to be here for Team Sensation, whereas, Brazil Circuit, Terracotta Twister, Boom Hill Tunnel, all very good picks here for the Freaks. And when it comes to item mode, I do think maybe Sensation might have the edge in that instance, and perhaps that might lead to a 1-1 situation where we actually are going to get an ace match.
I hope so, because you're concerning me right now, Stay. You're already questioning the first pick out of Sensation here, and that does mean, their strategy. We're looking at it and going, can they really handle this? And if they do, and they're actually able to win in speed against GWANGDONGFREECS. That's going to be a huge momentum swing for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans here in the studio for the first day of the postseason. As Peter, it's time to finally kick off the first match of the postseason. KWANGDONGFREECS versus Team Sensation in the lower bracket finals. Let's move to track number 1, Desert Construction Chaos.
We begin our first match of the day here in Speed between KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation. As we take a look at the position so far, it seems like both teams have a pretty strong contention here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a map that both of these teams are very comfortable with, and you can already see why. They're both contesting the top front ranks very well right now. Cool leading the pack, but Percent and Joker right behind him, and Hojin actually the speed ace.
Oh.
We've been hyping him up a lot coming into this one, but here in track number 1, all the way down in position number 8, he's gonna have to do some big catch-up.
Yeah, I love that play from Spear there, being able to catch up, making such a mess in the back line. And you can see him winning the lines against Joker there. That is going to be huge because now Seongbin can also catch up. It's 1-3-4 right now for KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, so Spear really wants to close the distance on Cool and Percent so they can play a 2v1 situation up here, leading the pack. And with Percent finally trading those red nitrous for blue nitrous, he should be able to try to find a line to pass Cool. As actually, I think we might have had a technical issue there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we're getting confirmation that I think we're going to be going into a regame there.
Definitely was concerning for me when I saw Hojin down at last place because we kept hyping up Hojin as the player that's always running in the front for Sensation, and it seems like there might have been some issues, so our staff are checking into that right now.
Yeah, it seems like Hojin might have had some kind of computer trouble as we're waiting for the referees to make their decision and try to get this squared away. Of course, you know, first match of the postseason is probably where you want to have this one. You don't want these issues to emerge over the course of the series, you know, in like a round 6 or a round 7 of a speed mode or an item mode. Is just got to make sure everything is nice and ready. But I got to say, right out of the gates there in track number 1, both Team Sensation and KWANGDONGFREECS looking very competitive. Both had several racers contesting the very front ranks, really from the beginning.
Yep. And that was a great test run, honestly. Just as you put it, State, it's great when you have these problems happen right on the first match because all of the players were just getting their fingers warmed up anyways, and now they're going to be able to catch this issue right from the start, and it seems like hopefully we won't have this repeat throughout the later matches.
Yeah, anytime you have any kind of issue with your computer, you just want to get it squared away right from the get-go. As it seems like Hojin might, just looking by the body language, that issue might have been resolved, as we're still waiting to hear from the referees on exactly what the situation is. But I'm imagining that we will be going into a rematch there for match number 1. I mean, it was so early in the track, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that we will be able to move past this issue with no problem. So far in preseason 2, whenever we had these technical difficulties, we ended up just going to a regame as long as it was fair and everyone decided that, yeah, this definitely had a noticeable impact on the match result, so we need to do the regame. Our judges have been pretty on point with their decisions so far.
Yeah, confirmation that Hojin actually did have that computer issue. He actually raised his hand when the match was starting to signal the referees that he was encountering some problems. And so we will be going into a restart here for match number 1. And well, maybe a little bit of those nervous jitters going away here for Team Sensation and KWANGDONGFREECS as they get to re-go here in the very first track.
Yep, and seems like definitely even the players on the side of Sensation, they're not really too shaken by that. You can see the fingers. They're just getting ready to get back into kart because after that first lap we just played, how could you not? You literally just started getting warmed up, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is not going to affect their mentality very much, I think, coming into this one again.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for the lobby to get ready. Got a sneak peek there at one of the players' screens, as it seems like we might be ready to go into this one very shortly here. And I'm excited to get started. And yeah, I was surprised that Hojin was all the way down in position number 8 there on that race, really from the beginning. And you know, him experiencing maybe some technical issues with his PC, probably a very likely cause of that is he's been so reliable for Team Sensation throughout the entirety of KDL Preseason 2. I believe, if not second, then perhaps 3rd overall in the team match rankings, as he has really come back into his own.
Yeah. So I just saw Guard earlier, and he was just very serious and focused, which is A bit uncharacteristic for Guard because I see him smiling a lot for the camera. That's how much pressure the postseason is having. But Joker, he's there just like, I want to get back in the game.
Yeah, living up to his name, man. It doesn't surprise me at all that he'd be a little bit more serious here for the first match against the reigning champions in what is effectively a do-or-die series. Of course, this is the lower bracket finals, so the team eliminated from this series today is out of the postseason as we're getting ready to go back into track number 1. Once again, Desert Construction Chaos. And now we begin Desert Construction Chaos. Hojin off to a much better start as all those kinks have been ironed out. And now Sensation, Guard Percent, and Hojin all try to battle World, and with a really nice line, able to body block him out. You could already see the sweeping coming through for Percent, but World finding a nice inner line, able to unseat him back into second place.
Is trying to do the same, but Hojin, he was able to block Cool out from doing that. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 being hotly contested by both teams. One thing to note is that Joker, he is losing against Seongnam and Spear right now, and if Joker cannot catch up out of that position, as soon as World takes first place, KWANGDONGFREECS, they're going to have an advantage.
Yeah, KWANGDONGFREECS should World and Cool be able to unseat Guard, who's trying his best right now to body block them and allow Hojin and Percent to close the distance. It will be a lot of pressure on Team Sensation, who has Percent and Joker right now into low place in position number 7 and 8. But Hojin with really nice body blocking right there. The first collisions were very good for him, but the follow-up after that just wasn't quite able to rebound, as it seems like Cool might actually be able to find this angle to contest. Man, so many body fights right now early on between Hojin and the players on KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, and you can see the bottom 4 players really starting to catch up now. In fact, KWANGDONGFREECS taking a huge momentum swing for themselves. You can see now World, he takes first place as well. Sensation is looking quite far behind them.
Yeah, the past couple of moments here for the KWANGDONGFREECS have been very critical for them, as Hojin, Percent, and Joker all in the bottom places. Gonna have to close the distance, use these blue nitrous and perhaps some drafting to actually unseat Cool, as Cool's trying to body block there with the long body of the New York City tour bus, but actually unable to connect here with Hojin.
Yep, and I like that inner block there by Cool, not giving Hojin the pass. Spear with a nice execution there as well. You can see now 1, 2, 3, 4 for KWANGDONGFREECS. This is such a dominant way to go about it. Guard, he's going to get executed off that collision into the wall.
And Guard, not only did he clip the wall, but also he clipped one of the players of Team Sensation, one of his teammates right behind him. So a lot of momentum lost, as we might have a perfect victory here for the Freaks. I mean, there isn't much track left to be played. 500 meters to the finish line. KWANGDONGFREECS absolutely going to win track number 1 in commanding fashion.
Absolutely commanding, just as you put it, State. And I saw the camera, the faces of KWANGDONGFREECS players, and they were just kind of smiling like, damn, this is how it's going to go? It's pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... If KWANGDONGFREECS wanted to make a statement here, coming in as the 4th seed for the KDL postseason, this is it. You know, the champions, we're back. We're on a journey back to the grand finals. 4-0 over Sensation here, the first track of speed mode. I mean, with such a wide differential, too. Looking at the difference between World and Percent, almost 2 seconds in total, separating first place from the Freaks with the leading racer on Team Sensation. As now Sensation's going to have to rebound on the next track. It's kind of a scary position for them here.
Absolutely. So what really ended up happening in that first round was it felt like KWANGDONGFREECS, they were winning in a lot of that sweeping matchup. They've had so many phenomenal moments where it feels like Sensation, they've had no response at all, especially when Hojin, a player that we want to see up in the top 2, he's getting constantly blocked out by players like Cool. It's really hard to focus on your own line when you have that extra pressure on you.
Yeah, Sensation just wasn't able to handle the pressure coming out for the KWANGDONGFREECS, and you could really see it with those collisions, especially on lap number 2, is everything just kind of fell apart for them. But now we're going into their track selection. We'll see what Team Sensation has planned here as we move on to track number 2 here in the lower bracket finals. It'll be WKC Singapore Circuit.
Off we go into speed round number 2. It's KWANGDONGFREECS leading right now 1-0, and it feels like Sensation, always in that first lap, they have the cohesion as a team. They have such a strong grip on that top 4, but at least one player is down in 8th place, and that's what really snowballed into lap 2, where Guangdong Freaks were able to get a lot of advantage back with some 6 sweeps. So far, though, 1-2 looking pretty strong for Sensation.
Yeah, and it is kind of the same story here on Singapore Circuit with Joker and Guard all the way in the low place at 7 and 8. And Seongnam here with his outer line will be able to remove Percent from that 2nd place position. And now, oh man, Cool taking a very ambitious line there. Was trying to body block Percent a little bit. Wasn't actually able to maintain the connection. But Seongnam able to work his way all the way up into 1st place. And Cool, once again, coming in on the outside. These collisions are so critical. KDF knows that, you know, with Sensation, Joker, and Guard all the way there on the low ranks.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite easy for them to actually maintain position here as seems like Seongnam and Spear really consolidating right now in 1st and 2nd place.
Cool is just pouncing on Sensation like a tiger right now. His sweeping is just all he's been focused on, and Percent, he's kind of just one-manning up here right now. It seems like Guard did have a disconnect, so we'll have to see what happens around that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see what the referee's decision is going to be. Is it right now is a back to 4v2 with Percent also disconnecting. Yeah, not sure exactly what's going there on the technical side between KWANGDONG Freaks and Sensation, as Sensation seems to be having a couple of technical issues here.
Joker, he's gonna join his brothers, Percent and Guard. It's Emperor Hojin versus the world.
I love the Hojin cam. He just looks so intense and focused in a 1v4. Like, guys, I still got this. Relax. Everything's gonna be fine.
Imagine if Hojin can win just by coming in 1st place alone. That would be sick. Just 1v4ing it, quite literally.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised he's actually been able to work his way all the way up to 4th position, because, you know...
yeah, now 3rd.
Yeah, the team Nitrous Cage not quite as beneficial there for Hojin, just racing all by his lonesome.
Yeah.
As, yeah, we will wait and see exactly what the referee decision is. It seems like Team Sensation is experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties here with their PCs in match number 1, and I think it was, what, Guard in the 1st track, and now here in track number 2. Or Hojin in the 1st track, excuse me. Now here in track number 2, I believe it was Guard who experienced the first of issues. So we'll see exactly what the decision is going to be. Hopefully, this tech pause will be able to resolve. We'll be able to get resolved quickly,
right?
And we can resume the action as, you know, especially for, you know, the players on stage. It's always kind of a bummer when you ever have any kind of technical issue like this emerge in a very critical match. I mean, for Team Sensation, after losing track number 1 in dominating fashions, actually, I think we actually have some PCs swapped out here as a couple of desktop computers are coming out. But just to go back to the point that I was making, it really hurts for Team Sensation, you know? You might think that, yeah, KWANGDONG Freaks, they won track number 1, so they're the team right now that really wants to maintain the momentum. But you know, if I put myself in the shoes of Team Sensation, after track number 1, where KWANGDONG Freaks won with not just a high place, but with a 1-2-3-4 perfect finish, I'm feeling pretty bad about that if I'm Team Sensation, right? I want to go back out there in track number 2. I want to put on a good show. I want to try and get the morale of my team back up and try to, you know, uplift myself from that crushing defeat in the very first track and try to get the momentum going back my way. But now with this tech delay, seems like some PCs will be swapped out here. For Team Sensation, it's kind of looming a little bit. That track number 1 result.
At least there's one really good news. It's that Hojin, he had the issue first, and we fixed this PC, and we can see that on the 2nd match, he's had no problems at all. So that means once we fix the rest of the PCs on the side of Sensation, we're not going to have any tech problems for the whole day, most likely.
That's a very optimistic thinking there, Peter, and I hope that you are right. I would love to have this just be able to carry on as our tech team right now, swapping out those PCs. Man, I feel like we're watching like some
a PC building contest.
Yeah, PC building contest. Or this is like a real racetrack, man. We're swapping out tires right now under these gamers' chairs.
Now we are actually kart riding in real life.
Yeah, they're at the pit stop, man. Getting ready for track number 2. They're going too fast. They wore down the rubber feet on the bottom of those PCs.
Yeah, and it's actually good for Guangdong Freaks as well. You can see you got to get those eye drops in, man. When you game too hard, your eyes can dry out, and nothing can be more aggravating than, you know, your eyes refusing to stay open and look at the screen in a comfortable manner.
Yeah, I have that problem a bunch when I'm playing PC games.
Oh, yeah?
And it's not like eye strain with a monitor, but you know, as a former StarCraft 2 pro gamer and now like a competitive Age of Empires enjoyer, like I play a lot of RTS games. I noticed that when I play those games, and even when I play Kart Rider, my eyes are just glued on the screen. I do not blink.
Really?
Like if I'm playing Kart Rider, I will probably not blink from the beginning of track number 1 until the end of whatever race that I'm doing.
Are you okay, State?
I don't know. It's just some weird thing I've had ever since I was a kid and I played my first couple of video games.
Right.
You know, on like my CRT monitors and stuff like that. I've always had this quirk where if I'm playing a computer game, whatever genre it is, my eyes are just absolutely peeled. It's like one of those horror movies where they're just like duct taped open or something like that. Like that's basically what I'm dealing with on a personal basis whenever I'm playing any kind of PC game. Is I can relate to those guys on stage who are putting in their eye drops.
Really?
Trying to relieve the burden, because I imagine I'm not alone with this. I guarantee that some people watching at home have kind of the same feeling where, you know, like they play their games, and when they're playing their games, they're just so intensely focused on what they're doing that they're not, you know, you don't think about hydrating yourself. You don't even think about blinking. You're just there in the moment, trying your best, you know, do whatever your best build is, take the best lines.
Right.
Pop that Thunderbolt right before the finish line in item mode.
Yeah, I'm certain our fans here in the crowd also need that kind of moment to get the eye drops in, because a match like KWANGDONGFREECS versus Sensation, it's got to get your blood pumping. And a break like this, it can actually be nice. You can kind of chill out. And when you're calmer, you can actually see the game more in a detailed way, I feel like. So you can pay more attention to the drafts coming out. Oh my goodness, Hojin, the drafts are insane. This is how he does it every single time. So
is that your viewing experience? It's so intense that you got to take breaks in between?
yeah, I mean, it's nice to keep going, but
Do
breaks
some
like
yoga.
this also good. Yeah, yoga. We'd love to see those. I know Pilates is a very popular thing as well. I don't know too much about that.
You don't know too much about Pilates?
Yeah. Do you
I
do that
don't
stuff?
know very much about it either. I'm making fun of you for it, but I also don't. I'm a nerd, man. I'm at home gaming. I'm playing Kart Rider or something else all the time. So
Yeah, and I can imagine.
Not much time to do these healthy habits.
I can imagine the way you said that you just don't even blink when you play games. You probably don't move even a limb. You're just like glued to that PC. You have a goal in mind. You want to win this many times today, and until you win, you don't even give yourself an opportunity to eat food.
Maybe. I mean, I'm kind of an anxious gamer, though. I oftentimes like my knees bouncing up and down, my foot shaking, my legs shaking.
Really?
I've always been that way. I've been a little bit fidgety. Even like when I was in school, you know, like listen to my teacher talk at a lecture on something. I'm always like playing with a pen, playing with a pencil. Gotta keep moving with something, but
Tech Pause, a good way.
Yeah, Tech Pause still ongoing. It seems like the PCs have been swapped out as Team Sensation back in their chairs. A lot of these players seem like they're ready to go. Of course, I'm sure some of these gamers just making sure all of their settings are right. Of course, swapping out PCs, some of those settings do get reset back to default in the operating system. So just want to make sure that everything is going to be in tip-top shape, that we don't have any more issues over the course of the rest of the series. But man, going back to track number 1, what an opening statement here from the Freaks. I mean, that 4-0 perfect win on their track selection, just looking very strong. You got to worry about Sensation here coming into, you know, their track pick, WKC Singapore Circuit, a track that, you know, overall here in KDL Preseason 2, they only played on it once, and yes, they did win, but something they don't have too much experience with. So it's kind of a tricky moment for them, because really a lot of the draft comes down to how well they do on their first choice, right? This is their priority. They pick this track over any other track before even KWANGDONGFREECS could get any bans out. So you got to think that they have something special cooked up here. You got to think they're feeling confident here on the streets of Singapore. But if they can't come through with the victory and they go down 2-0 in the best of 7 here in speed mode, it's a very precarious position.
I'll tell you what though, State, the last time that Sensation and KWANGDONGFREECS played against each other in the main stage, it was Sensation winning speed. It was 3-1. So right now, Sensation is down 1 point. This is their chance. They can make it repeat. They just need to now get their forms together, utilize this break to once again just kind of like settle their minds down and really focus on what is their game plan today. And I'm sure they'll be able to come back with a 3-1 sweep. And as for item, it was KWANGDONGFREECS winning against them, and this happened also in Preseason 1 in the item mode where KWANGDONGFREECS won against Sensation. So it is really important for Sensation here today that they're able to secure a win here in speed, starting with a round 2 in WKC Singapore Circuit.
And the action continues here in the KDL postseason first match, lower bracket finals. KWANGDONGFREECS versus Team Sensation. Now on Sensation's first track pick, off to a good start are Hojin and Joker, but Garden percent once again in those low spots, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely not the story you want to have. Hojin, his only support right now is Joker, and Joker has been playing that support role pretty well so far in this season, but you can see Cool and Spear really winning those body checks right now.
Yeah, Hojin really the lead racer for Sensation, doing a lot of the legwork in terms of points, and he's going to have to hold on that first place to the best of his ability so that they can actually maintain this lead, because otherwise it's going to be a very tricky problem for them. Even right now, with Hojin in first place, KWANGDONGFREECS with 2, 3, 5, 7. That's a winning formula. Now Guard is able to pass World as we're battling here in the low ranks, and these positions matter a ton, especially should Hojin be able to hold on to that first rank.
Oh my goodness, not only Guard, but now Percent also winning that battle on the back line. That is going to be huge for Sensation because it provides so much relief for Hojin now. All he needs to do is focus on his own line and get the first place rather than worrying about sweeping and buying his team some time.
Yeah, but for Hojin, cool, going for a little bit of body check there, but unable to do it. Now Joker actually able to lend some support to Hojin. Is cool with the outer line, is able to pass him for just a moment here. We'll see if that maintains. And Spear also coming in, looking to see if he can do some body blocking here on Joker. Now with the current setup, Sensation is leading this race, but it's critical they maintain that first place position.
Yeah, Joker tried for a nice body block there, but it was Spear winning on the trade of that one. And we're seeing Cool, he's really just focusing on his own build right now, trying to secure that first place against Hojin. We could call it a 1v1 in that matter. However, in the back, Seongnam and World, they are losing that body fight.
Yeah, Percent and Joker have actually fallen back down to 7-8 as the lower rank battle continues on here, and now KWANGDONGFREECS. It's a 4v2 basically for these top positions, as it seems like Joker might have disconnected yet again as we see his ghost right there at the top of the screen. And we are going to go all the way to the finish line here, so I'm not sure exactly what the issue is here for Sensation. This has to be a really difficult position for them, considering how well this seemed to be going. They were in a very tight race with KWANGDONGFREECS all the way through lap number 2 right there. It was neck and neck. I think 20 points to 19 for the majority of it, but it seems like the tech problem still continuing on for them. Hojin's like, all right guys, it's fine. It's fine, everybody. Relax, deep breaths.
You love the star in Hojin here. He is not having a bad time with these delays and tech issues. He knows it's a thing that just kind of happens, and I like that his mentality is so strong here. Meanwhile, KWANGDONGFREECS players, they also look like, pretty calm and collected so far. They understand that, these issues do happen, and they are hoping that their opponents will be able to fix out those technical issues.
Yeah, so the tech team coming out once again here at the arena as Team Sensation just trying to get their bearings, giving each other thumbs up. Hojin right there clapping a little bit, trying to lift the morale as, they would really just like to get the ball rolling right here and try to uplift themselves from the 1-0 deficit they find themselves in here in this best of 7 in speed mode.
Yeah, and you can see right now Team Sensation having a discussion with our staff just to really clarify, what are some of the problems they've been having so that we can make sure that this doesn't repeat, because so far in our speed match between KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation, there has been this technical issue repeating on the side of Sensation, so it would be nice to get that solved out. Yeah,
KWANGDONGFREECS as of yet haven't really experienced any issues, so everything is good on their end. It just strictly seems like a couple of players on Team Sensation, whether it be some settings or perhaps we did have PCs swapped out, so I'm not sure exactly what the issue might be. But it's got to be a frustrating moment. I mean, especially for Team Sensation right now. And even though it's obviously it's not their fault, these things happen in esports all around the world, not just in Cartwright or Drift or the KDL, but in basically every esport of every genre. Anytime you have a LAN or even an online event, there are always issues with computers. It comes with the territory here in PC gaming, right? And especially in esports is you find yourself in this position. It's nobody's fault, but for Team Sensation, you still kind of gotta feel bad. As I've been in the exact same situation where I'm playing in a tournament, and my computer's the one that keeps having issues, and it's like, look, okay, it's not my fault. This is something that's going on. Like, it's out of my control. Like, we're here on stage. Like, we're trying to get this fixed, but even though it's not your fault, you do kind of feel bad because you're the one that's either disconnecting from the lobby or experiencing, some kind of problem with your computer that's making it unable for you to play. And so in a way, it does kind of feel like everybody is waiting on you. And I hope that the players on Team Sensation, being the veterans that they are, aren't experiencing too much of that anxiety. right now because, again, it really is nobody's fault. We want to get this cleaned up as quickly as possible, as I'm getting confirmation from our producers that Joker and Percent's computers will be swapped, so hopefully that will alleviate some of the issues that Team Sensation has been experiencing. It seems like Joker and Percent have really been the two racers that, oh, look at this tracking by Hojin. And he can keep a good line, not just in-game, but also also following the camera that we have here in the arena on the big old crane.
Yeah, if we were playing an FPS game right there, that was a headshot. He was right on your head there.
He was focused in. It reminds me of like have you ever seen the stability of some birds, their heads? Like I'm thinking of a chicken, especially.
You've seen that?
Yeah. I had a pet chicken when I was a kid. I had a chicken and a rooster on my house, man. I'm not like a country boy, but I'm from America. We lived in a residential home. We had a chicken in our backyard. Yeah, we had free eggs. And one of the funny things, I don't know if anybody else has ever seen this, but I mean, I feel like I'm in the minority right now because you just said that you don't see it. But I'm sure a lot of people have seen this before where if you hold like a chicken, for example, by the legs, and you move the body around, you do like a circular motion. I kind of wish I was on camera for this. You do like a circular motion holding the chicken. The body's all moving. The head stays exactly in a fixed position in space. So the neck maneuvers with the body and it goes up and down and up and down, but the head, it stays perfectly fixed. And I feel like that was Hojin watching the crane camera right there. He's like a chicken.
Yeah, or if you put it in a more fearsome way, like an eagle on the hunt.
Chickens are fierce, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Chickens, they get a bad rep.
But they end up on my dinner plate at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, they're small. They're small. They've come a long way from being dinosaurs. Those guys are fierce, man. Chickens are scary. I'm telling you, as somebody that had a chicken in their backyard, those are some scary beasts sometimes. Especially a rooster. You make a rooster angry. That thing's got claws. It's got personality. It's like a more agile, like Canadian geese. Like, have you ever walked by a park with like Canadian geese that are by the water? They get very territorial and they start to scare you away.
Is that like a U.S. thing? Can you?
Have you ever seen any bird in your life, Peter? What has been?
I've seen ducks, pigeons.
Never seen geese?
I've seen birds in Pokemon.
That doesn't count, Peter. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
geese are highly territorial in both America and also Canada, and I'm sure elsewhere around the world. I know the UK also has them. Geese are quite common around bodies of water, and you'll walk past like a lake or something in a park, and geese will chase you away from wherever they want to be, wherever they consider their territory. They would chase you away. I don't know why I can't speak suddenly. But yeah, birds.
Those geese, man, the PTSD, it's hitting you.
It's scary, yeah. It's
now you're done for today. You can't cast anymore, State.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
gotta go text Wolf or Trober. They gotta come in here and tag team this.
Yeah, but
of course, we're still waiting for the PCs to get swapped in. I can see on the monitor right now that Joker has been able to rejoin the lobby, so Percent perhaps right now getting some settings all sorted on his PC.
Yeah, and our fan there saying that they came all the way to the stadium to watch Kart Rider Drift League, despite the weather we're having. Speaking of, if you guys are not in Korea right now, it's been very rainy as of recent, very dark clouds. Yeah, it's that season right now. One benefit is that at least the weather kind of like cools down, but if you go outside, it's definitely not that much of a positive.
Yeah, it's usually hot around Korea this time of year, so always nice for the fans to be able to weather the storms outside, make their way down to the arena where we have some nice air conditioning. It's a beautiful arena too, very spacious.
They have one of the widest screens I've ever seen as well.
Oh yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful monitor. If any of the fans watching right now and listening to our broadcast, if you are able to find your way out down to Korea, make sure to come down to the KDL studio if you get a chance.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place to watch some games here, as you see right there. Beautiful stadium. It seems like the tech issue has finally been resolved here for Sensation. Let's hope that holds up here as we're getting ready to go back into track number 2. KWANGDONG up 1-0. Let's race on WKC Singapore circuit.
We are back here on Speed Round 2 for a rematch between Sensation and KWANGDONGFREECS. Of course, to refresh our memories, KWANGDONGFREECS is leading right now 1-0, so even if they win this one, it's not over yet. Yeah,
and it's a best of 7 too, so there's still a lot of Kart Rider left to be played. And Sensation right now here, very close. Hojin once again contesting rank 1 position here up against Cool, so very reminiscent of the last time we played this track up until we had to go into the restart. But as far as Percent and Guard go, a little bit stronger here in the midfield, and Joker as well. You know, he was right there down in 7th place, but as you see, it's a very tight pack.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like Seongnam and World, they're really losing that bottom line, however.
That Percent actually there collided with the wall to try and do a little bit of body blocking right there on the players of KWANGDONGFREECS as World falls all the way down into 7th place, and now it's Hojin continuing the battle against the lead racers here for KWANGDONGFREECS. Cool, Sungbin, and Spear. Now Guard is able to make his way up into that 4th place position with the inner line. He is trying to get past Sungbin, but Sungbin doing such a good job of zoning these Sensation players out.
Absolutely. It feels like a Sungbin one-man show so far, buying a lot of time. However, it is Sensation that's having a pretty good position here, especially with now Hojin winning potentially against Cool. That 1v1 is going to be pivotal.
Yeah, it's absolutely pivotal, Peter, especially considering how staggered the midfield has been so far with 4-6-7, or 4-6-8, excuse me, all going to Sensation right now. Hojin has to hold on to that 1st place position if Sensation wants to come through with a win here. And lap number 2 is now Guard trying to get into this, alleviate some of that pressure right now on the lead racer Hojin, but Cool and Spear doing such a good job of maintaining their lead.
Yeah, I love that tag play. Spear playing sweeper while Cool, he utilizes that moment to boost forward. And now it's 1-3 for KWANGDONGFREECS. Sensation, they are far behind right now, sitting at 7-8. It's really hard for Hojin to try to buy time now.
Now here on this straightaway, Guard is able to pass Sungbin just for a moment. Hojin with a nice boost, able to work his way in. He's going to try and take the tight inner line to see if he can unseat Cool. Hojin and Guard right now in position 2 and 3. That's good, but not good enough, Peter.
Yeah.
As Hojin really needs to win this 1v1 versus Cool. It might all come down to this.
Yeah, even if he does, it's too late now because Guard, he falls out of contention of 1-2. And it seems like KWANGDONGFREECS, they're going to finalize their win with a 1-3-4-5. The back line of Sensation, they fell apart.
Yeah, and it seems very reminiscent of the first track that we played here. You know, KDF had a very similar story there in track number 1 where, you know, in the first lap of that race, it was very close all the way throughout. KWANGDONGFREECS had a very slight edge, and then, you know, in the latter portion of lap number 2, both in track 1 and here on WKC Singapore Circuit in track number 2, KWANGDONGFREECS did such a good job of sweeping, of team fighting, of supporting each other, especially in the midfield. And, you know, it's not the 1-2-3-4 finish they had last time, but 1-2-3-4-5 is still incredibly good as KWANGDONGFREECS all but stopping Sensation. You know, only Hojin really stood a chance there in the latter portion of Singapore Circuit.
That 3-1 comeback in speed for Sensation that I was kind of building up to, it's gone harder now. But at least it's a best of 7 here, so you could still come back with a 4-2. That is also a winning score. But at that point, Sensation would need to win all of their remaining matches, and that is going to be a tough task because we are already in round 3, and it's going to be Village Boom Hill Tunnel.
Here we go on Village Boom Hill Tunnel, and you're right, Peter, time is running out a little bit here for Sensation as they only have, in a way, 2 lives left for speed mode. Of course, this is a best of 7 here in the postseason, not the best of 5 that we are acclimated to during the regular season here at the KDL. As Sensation off to, you know, yet another good start, but I'm concerned a little bit about their midfield. Guard Percent once again all the way down in the bottom of the pack, and that's been an issue for them, not just here in track number 3, but over the course of this entire series.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sungbin right now, he's trying to win the trade against Joker, but there's Hojin, the trustworthy player for Sensation, trying to get back in the top. World putting a lot of pressure right now on Sensation, blocking into 2 players.
Yeah, but Joker, Joker actually like a pinball machine right there, bouncing off the walls a lot, is actually going to slow down everybody in the midfield, so maybe not going the best way there as World went for a very ambitious body block, was not able to get it. Hojin taking creative build right here, going up on the left side. A little bit of a risky build, but it does pay off for him as he is able to close the distance here on Spear and Sungbin, and actually able to pass Spear right there, and actually went for a big body block, but oh no, he clips the box.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking rough right now. Percent, he needs to deny this 1-2. It's all on the Percent's shoulder right now, but Cool with the blocks. It's too good, and Percent, he clips the wall. 1-2 finish for KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, 1-2 finish there for KWANGDONGFREECS as they get the high place, and now they're up 3-0 here in the best of 7 of speed mode as KDF, man, they are coming out with a vengeance here against Team Sensation. No, Sensation might have been able to take speed mode against them during the regular season, and now here in the postseason, KWANGDONGFREECS catching new life.
Really does feel that way, State. In the speed match, I don't think we've seen a match this dominant, one-sided against a team like Sensation, who has been phenomenal in their speed matches. And I guess it's not too surprising when you think of the fact that, after all, it is KWANGDONGFREECS. They are the defending champions. They had such a nice win for their organization in Preseason 1, finally defeating their longtime opponent, Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, now here in the lower bracket final, it's a more difficult journey to become champion yet again, as we get a quick replay here of the final moments. On Village, Boom Hill Tunnel, Hojin went for a very creative build here. I love this line that he took against Spear as well, and then body blocking him right here because he knew the win condition was for Sensation to try and consolidate in the middle of the pack, as position 1 was completely lost. They wanted to go for something like a 2-3-4, but then clipping the box after that jump, just taking a lot of the wind out of the sails there for Team Sensation, as now they're basically on their last life. If KWANGDONGFREECS win one more track, they're going to win speed mode with a nice advantage coming into item mode. So we're going to move to track number 4. It will be WKC Japan Circuit.
We begin our final round here, potentially for KWANGDONGFREECS if they win. And right now it feels like Hojin, he's been doing a phenomenal job staying in the top. Just in that last match, however, it was KWANGDONGFREECS with the 1-2, so Sensation looking for their own 1-2 here.
Yeah, but I don't think that says that Hojin's form is in a bad place right now with that 1-2 finish. He just went for a very, kind of creative and very different build to try and set Sensation up for their only win condition, which was something like a 2-3-4 on that previous track. So him not getting a top 2 right there, not very surprising to me. Right. But the main concern for Sensation today is Joker and Guard in position 7 and 8. They haven't been able to lend very much support to Hojin and Percent, who often are fighting 1v2 or 2v3 in the upper ranks, and that's such a difficult position to be in, even for a legend like Hojin right now. As you see right on screen, he's battling up against Seongnam and World with Spear right behind him. And he's still able to hold on to first place for now, but it's just so hard. It's like a war of attrition.
Absolutely, KWANGDONGFREECS just winning as a team overall right now. Only Hojin in contention really as cool. He just needs to block out Percent, keep the 3 players in the bottom from Sensation, and KWANGDONGFREECS is doing that phenomenally.
Yeah, the sweeping from KWANGDONGFREECS has been so good. Not just cool, but also Seongnam especially have been doing a great job of body checking Team Sensation and really slowing them down here as we enter lap number 3, final lap. Hojin still in first place, but KDF holding on position 2, 3, and 4. Still to be in a very good spot, but now Guard actually with a breakaway over here, seeing if he can try and make a pass on Spear with this inner line. No, not yet.
Absolutely not. Hojin, he needs to do all he can to at least break apart the 1-2. That is the only winning condition. However, Spear and Seongbin, the duo, they're playing out of their minds right now, trying to make sure they secure that win condition.
Hojin's trying his best to disrupt it as he goes for a body check there, but actually unable to connect, and he's going to fall all the way down into position number 6 as the finish line only 300 meters away. Now Hojin, he works his way back up into top 2. He will be able to disrupt the top 2. No! As KWANGDONGFREECS in dominating fashion, they win speed mode the same way that they won track number 1 in speed mode. 1, 2, 3, 4. They win every single map, and they're going to be heading into item mode with a 1-0 lead in this series.
That honestly surprises me, State. I feel like Sensation, they're so good at speed, but just today, KWANGDONGFREECS, their form is on another level. It's like they're getting flashbacks to the moment where they were that champion in Preseason 1, because it feels like you're absolutely playing against the champion right now. What can you do when they beat you 4-0 in such a dominating fashion?
I don't know. That's a very tough loss here for Team Sensation, though. Not even getting 1-0 on the board. Even their 0 right there on the lower third was small. So it just kind of encapsulates probably the momentum that they're feeling right now, as it seems like it's nil, zilch, as Team Sensation gonna have to go back to the drawing board here in item mode. But it's a very concerning start of the day here. I mean, this is their last chance. The loser of this series is going to be eliminated from this tournament, so Sensation has to be feeling the pressure here as we look at the item track list for item mode.
Absolutely. We have picked up, of course, the tracks earlier in the ban phase, and it was Mine Magma Cavern, Town Hall, Shark's Wake, and Mushroom Caves going over to the side of Sensation. And I feel like Sensation having that first pick, as well as the round 7 pick, is going to have that insurance feel a lot more confident now because we would really love to see Sensation bring us to an ace match because it means that much more when you can decide a victor off of that clutch match.
Absolutely, and Sensation has been very reliable in ace matches with the prowess of Hojin specifically, but if they want to get there, they have to win here in item mode. 4 tracks away from forcing that ace match. We'll see if they're able to do it here as we start out on track number 1, Mine Magma Cavern. Team Sensation, after losing 4-0 to the KWANGDONGFREECS in speed mode, have to make something happen here in item mode, have to force that ace match, otherwise their dreams of winning the KDL Preseason 2 will end today.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 3-lapper track here, but already in the first one, Joker, he's managed to pick up an Angel. So Sensation, they are a bit stacked on that defensive item usage right now. Guard, he's going to cycle through a shield of his own as well.
Yeah, we'll have to keep big eyes on exactly what the team play items are going to be here for both the KWANGDONGFREECS and Team Sensation. Now, the meta, it has shifted to be a lot more aggressive with higher proc gens of items such as water whips, of missiles, the attacks, especially here on Magma Cavern with all these racers coming up that one ramp leading into the finish line. In lap number 3, you get a good water balloon. It cannot be dodged on that ramp, so that's something you got to keep in the back of your mind here as we continue on with Magma Cavern, is not only the team play items such as the lightning bolts and the angel shields, but also water balloons heading in there as well, with an interesting line there, to say the least, is going to fall off the track, but not too impactful here in item mode, especially only in lap number 2. Rarely do we have any racer kind of break away, especially on this track, and lead the pack. It's much more about the team play composition. And now with Team Sensation's Joker holding on to 2 Angel Shields, he's basically done cycling through items for the rest of the track. He wants to hold on to those. And so for the rest of Team Sensation, they know they have that defensive lineup behind them. They have to start thinking about what their win condition is going to be. And so for Guard, with a Magnet and a Nitrous, you think maybe you just hold on to that for the finish line.
Yep, that is absolutely what Guard is doing so far. Meanwhile, on the side of KWANGDONGFREECS World, he's looking to draw a lot of aggro here, potentially go through the EMP. He's going to get caught up by that water bomb, and now it's Seongnam trying to lead.
A nice water bomb there with only 500 meters left to go. No lightning on the board, is actually Hojin's going to fall off the map, and now Guard, keep in mind, he does have that Magnet and the Nitrous here, as he's trying his best to fight against these racers, and the Magnet pops, the Nitrous does as well, and that is going to be enough speed for Guard to be able to cross the finish line ahead of Cool and World. So Sensation finally getting on the board here, winning track number 1 in item mode.
That is great to see that we can have Sensation strike back with a round win of their own. It's going to be a lot more closely matched if Sensation is able to win an item here after losing in speed. And what a great way to start here on their own track of choice. Magma Cavern has been a pretty consistent track for them so far in Preseason 2, and that's really continuing here today as well.
And let's remember that Sensation, they have item mode priority. They are able to get most of the map picks here, 4 out of the 7 tracks, as KWANGDONGFREECS did have the speed priority here in this set. So for Team Sensation, you got to think that they're going to have some more tracks to play on that they're very comfortable with here in item mode. And Team Sensation, especially here in KDL Preseason 2, they seem to be formidable in item mode, as it's been hard for teams such as KWANGDONGFREECS to really solidify their position in this game mode.
Yeah, and I feel like, honestly, if you're KWANGDONGFREECS here, you dropped a round here in item, but you're not too concerned because in both Preseason 1 and 2 in the main stages, KWANGDONGFREECS, they've won against Sensation in that item mode every single time. And none of them were perfect wins either. So dropping first round here, it's no biggie. And I feel like, honestly, it's nice to see in this track 1, we saw different strategies coming out, mainly focusing on Magnet, like the old style combo, rather than a lot of the lightning. We didn't really see that happen, but in track 2, we could have so much more lightnings, so let's find that out in Desert Pharaoh's Pass. Off we go into item round number 2, and as we take a look at the track winning rate so far, KWANGDONGFREECS, they are a lot more favored here compared to Sensation.
Yeah, KWANGDONGFREECS, they have a very good record here on Pharaoh's Pass. Of course, their first map pick, as this is track number 2. We do alternate the map picks here in the KDL. And we'll see exactly what they have in store for them already. Is, you know, so far here in lap number 1, we have a lot of track left to be played, but no big team play items on the board. Just a lot of teams trading aggro. Hojin getting hit by a missile here as World getting a little bit of revenge on him.
Right, and we are seeing a lot of the water bombs being cycled out. Haven't seen any put to good use so far yet. That water bomb is going to miss Joker there in the front. He doesn't have a shield, but that EMP, it could have some use. Nope, he's just going to cycle through it here.
We got to keep in mind that Pharaoh's Pass, very similar to Magma Cavern, does have that one section where, you know, you're going through this wooded area, or not wooded, excuse me. You're going on like this bridge made of wood, is what I meant to say.
Yeah,
right
that's
before
wood.
the finish line. Yeah, I know, but it's not a wooded area. There aren't like trees around you, right? And that's an area where you really cannot avoid water balloons, just like Magma Cavern. So we'll see if either team tries to play into that a little bit here, as both teams, in fact, picking up a lightning bolt of their own. Hojin has one on his side, Spear as well, the lightning bolt. No angel shields as of yet.
Absolutely. Seongnam is holding on to double magnet right now, so he's not going to be concerned about dropping out of that first place contention. A lightning is going to be utilized pretty early here by Sensation.
An interesting choice by Team Sensation to go for a lightning this early, right at the start of lap number 3. I guess they really want to prioritize. They want to prioritize tempo here to slow down the Freaks in any way they can.
Absolutely, because percent, they need to catch up. As you take a look at the first player on the side of KWANGDONGFREECS, Seongnam, he's kind of just running away right now. He's got a shield in his pocket as well to dodge out any potential missiles.
Yeah, Guard does have a UFO, so we'll see if he can abduct Seongnam right
bad.
now. Yeah, it's not looking good. Lightning bolt pops right there for KWANGDONGFREECS, so Sensation gets slowed down quite a bit, and Freaks seem to be in a very commanding position now. A UFO is going to abduct Cool, so that will slow him down a lot coming to the finish line, but not enough, as KDF just seem to have all the tools in their belt to come through with a win here in track number 2 and tie item mode up 1-1.
The amount of pressure that KWANGDONGFREECS was able to put on Sensation there, it's insane, because you rarely see these lightnings being forced out early on, and you can see Sensation, even though they utilized a lightning to catch up, they couldn't in the end. Hojin, he got clipped out by a water bomb, and it was really difficult to try to keep up with Seongnam, who was in the front, and then Cool with attack play coming in first in the end.
Yeah, Cool coming in clutch there for Team KWANGDONGFREECS. As Sensation, it's an interesting choice to go for the lightning bolt there at the very start of track number 3. I mean, I guess they had to do something to start to slow the roll of KWANGDONGFREECS, as they were really beginning to run away with that one. Did not work out in the end. The best of 7 now has whittled down into a best of 5. Both teams only 3 track wins away from securing a victory here in item mode.
Yeah, and it seems like we're having a tech pause on the side of Sensation. There may be some issue with Joker's monitor, so we are checking into that right now. The staffs are going to come in and make sure that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, and luckily, you know, throughout most of Speed, after we had those few technical hiccups in track number 1 and track number 2, there weren't too many issues, so hopefully this issue for Joker will get resolved very quickly and we'll be able to continue on. But, you know, just reading a little bit of the body language here on Team Sensation, I'm concerned. You could see some frustration, a little bit of maybe anxiety here, even on the side of the veteran Hojin, as things just not really going their way today. They had a lot of tech issues and also a crushing 4-0 defeat in the best of 7 of Speed mode means that they're really feeling the pressure here in item mode. They have to win 3 more tracks just to stay alive and force an ace match.
I think the pressure is getting to the computer itself. Going against KWANGDONGFREECS, the computer's like, no, I can't handle it, dude. I can't play Kart Rider Drift against KWANGDONGFREECS.
The AI is coming to life.
But I love that high-five exchange there.
Yeah.
Hojin really just trying to cheer up the morale of his team. That's really crucial, I feel like, him coming in as a team captain there. And also to mention Hojin, he has previous experience as a coach in the Kart Rider League, so you can see that leadership really coming into effect right now.
And we're actually receiving words from our producers that the admins have reached a decision. This affected the outcome of the game, as Joker was not able to see perhaps quite well on his monitor. He did have some issue over that game, so there will be a rematch for track number 2. So we're going to go back to Pharaoh's Pass with Sensation up 1-0, and that doesn't surprise me very much, as Joker was really quiet there on that track. He didn't seem to be making, you know, any plays at all, really, as I'd have to go back and look at the replay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no surprise that the technical issues here for Sensation just affecting them a little bit, and you see Hojin now that the decision has been reached and we will have a rematch, a little bit of the weight lifted off his shoulders as he's trying to lift the spirits of his teammates. As we're going to go back into Pharaoh's Pass here for track number 2. Team Sensation up 1-0 here in item mode. Let's get to it.
We are going back in for a rematch of item round 2 between Sensation and KWANGDONGFREECS. This time around, it's Sensation who is leading right now here in the item mode.
Yeah, Joker holds back just a little bit there to pick up 2 items, but gets double nitrous, so he's just going to quickly rejoin everybody else. Actually picks up a 3rd nitrous there from another set of items. So Joker wouldn't be surprised to see him work his way all the way up to the 1st place. Yep, there he goes.
And compete with them nitruses.
Oh, look at Hojin guard, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of angels. It's like we're in heaven.
It is like we're in heaven, Peter. I was struggling to put into words what it was like, but you're right. It is like we're in heaven with Guard and Hojin here in lap number 1, already picking up 3 Angel Shields. And so for Team Sensation now, this answers a lot of questions for them in terms of what their late game setup is going to be. Now, I would be surprised to see Guard or Hojin rotate out of those Angel Shields at all. Guard especially is going to want to hold on to the double. And so for Team Sensation now, if you're Joker or Percent, you're like, okay, we're going to be the racers that are going to try and set up with, a magnet and a nitrous or double nitrous or something to that effect. And they're going to be the players that are also going to try to maintain position here. As actually a lightning bolt gets popped right there, attacking the KWANGDONGFREECS very early. You could just see Sensation absolutely prioritizing the tempo here. And another surprising play is Team Sensation. They came out with one of the Angel Shields. They say we don't need 3 to deflect some of the aggro. They use one here in lap number 2, and then they pick up another Angel Shield. So they're back right up there at 3 again.
And then cool, he picks up another lightning as well, but it's going to be tough to break through 3 angels. So KWANGDONGFREECS, they're going to need to pick up a lot more offensive item utilization, like the water wisps that we are seeing coming onto the screen.
Yeah, so this is a very nice setup here for Team Sensation as Guard right now, he wants to be the lead racer as well as Hojin. Given all the Angel Shields that they have, if I'm not mistaken, Guard might have just cycled through when his Angels and Hojin got one.
Yep, there it is. Guard just uses his Angel right there as well. There comes another Angel on the side of Sensation, buying them a lot of room here, and the Angel's gonna block out the lightning in the end, and a clean 1-2 finish for Sensation.
Yeah, my goodness, the shield for Team Sensation there was so powerful as KWANGDONGFREECS, even with only 1 lightning, just unable to make anything happen against that. And also for Team Sensation, you got to give credit to, Guard right there with double Angel Shield leading the pack that whole time. He was taking up a lot of aggro as a racer who's really not getting set up to try and go for, like a nitrous and magnet finish. He's all about supporting the team right there with the Angels, but still able to emerge as the first racer to cross the finish line as Sensation goes up 2-0 here in item mode. Looking very strong. Now only 2 track wins away from forcing that ace match. You could see some of the pressure getting lifted from this team.
Absolutely, it's exactly as you put it, State. Sensation really needed this moment of relief. Being up 2-1 is definitely going to feel good, especially in a mode like item mode where Sensation put some priority on their tracks there. And if we do end up going to a round 7, which could be likely if KWANGDONGFREECS strikes back at this rate, it is a track choice by Sensation, so it's nice to have that little insurance in the end.
Yeah, and the fact that Team Sensation was able to win on the first map pick of the Freaks in item mode has to be a very big confidence booster, the same way it was for the Freaks there in speed mode.
Yeah, absolutely, and it seems like so far, KWANGDONGFREECS, they've lost a lot of that momentum they originally presented us with in the beginning of the day. But now, we are ready for our round number 4, held in Village Town Hall.
Go, track number 3 in item mode. I love the way you put it, held in the town hall. Now I'm just imagining all these gamers getting up and we're hosting the KDL right there in that nice, big, beautiful building.
Yeah, and my goodness, I thought we're on track number 4 already because
No,
I was
track 3,
tracking the scores. But then I realized, wait a minute, we've had the rematches. We're still on round 3. So we got so much more item mode ahead of us.
Yeah, we do have a lot of item modes ahead of us right now. But, Sensation, although they are up 2-0, we might have 2 more tracks should they be able to keep this momentum up. And I say that, and I look there at the item inventory, and we're actually World over here on lap number 1, picking up double Lightning, which is just a crazy pick. Now, Sensation Guard, he does have an Angel Shield in the bag, so there is some utility here for Sensation. There is some counterplay, but double Lightning this early is just so good. Oh my goodness, they got another one right there on Spear.
Exactly. It feels like KWANGDONGFREECS, they're finally starting to get the lightnings that they haven't been getting at all. It's like all coming in one go.
Yeah, they've been blessed by the lightning gods here.
Lord Zeus, bless me.
Zeus is smiling brightly upon the Freaks as the first lightning is going to pop, and Sensation opting to use their only Angel Shield to try and deal with that one. As actually, I think I say that and then Guard. I don't even know if this is the first Angel Shield, but he has another one right there in the bag. There is still some more counterplay here against World, holding on to two lightnings himself.
Yep, absolutely. World is just playing that role that you often like to refer to State as kind of like that member on the team that just doesn't cycle through their items, and they want to really focus more on team play rather than anything else.
And he's just playing support. You know, he's not gunning to cross the finish line first. He just wants to pop these double lightnings at the critical timing here for the Freaks. And so the fact that he was there in first place for a moment there for the Freaks and was able to absorb some of the aggro from Team Sensation is going to help the middle field of KWANGDONGFREECS a lot. And those are the racers that are getting set up to try and cross the finish line as another lightning comes out. Angel Shield's actually able to pop it, so KWANGDONGFREECS, they don't have any more lightnings in the bag. Hojin right now holding onto a shield and a magnet, but cool with a magnet and a nitrous. Very dangerous position. Oh, he gets attacked though.
Will the nitrous be enough for Cool here? No! Hojin!
Wow!
He comes in first for Sensation, and now Sensation has a humongous lead, 3-0 over KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal finish there for Hojin, and cool, you know, he had the Wombo combo, he had the nitrous and the magnet right there, right behind Hojin in first place, but the attack came in from Sensation. They had just enough inventory left to dish out one more attack on the lead racer there for the Freaks, and I gotta say, if they weren't able to connect with Cool right there at the finish line, I think that's a KWANGDONGFREECS victory. So a very clutch play coming out of Team Sensation as they now go up 3-0 here in item mode. And this is not an outcome that I expected. I did not think that KWANGDONGFREECS were going to win speed mode 4-0. I did not think it would be over that quickly. I also did not expect Sensation to be up 3-0 in item mode after the first 3 tracks. I mean, both these teams are dominating their respective modes right now here. As Sensation, they only have to win 1 out of the next 4 tracks to be able to secure an ace match. And we'll see if they're able to do it, man. We're going to go to Factories Brody Gloom as truck number 4. Sensation so close to forcing that final map. After momentum swung so wildly in the favor of the KWANGDONGFREECS in speed mode, Sensation able to fight back with a vengeance here, Peter, in item mode. Now up 3-0. Should they win here on Brody's Gloom or any of the other remaining tracks, we're going to go to an ace match that will decide the fate of these teams.
I'm super excited for that right now, State. I would love to see the ace match, and I would also love to see Sensation close it out 4-0, so we kind of have like an even field where we can say both teams were clearly dominant in one item mode, or modes for that matter.
That would be really surprising, honestly. I mean, we might get that. Sensation already up 3-0 means that, you know, that's probably going to be in the cards here, although Seongnam and World are off to a fantastic start here, and World already has a lightning in the bag. I mean, you just got to give credit to the tenacity here for Team Sensation, despite what must have been a frustrating situation with all the PC technical issues that they experienced over the course of this series.
Yep.
On top of that, getting 4-0'd in speed mode against, you know, yes, KWANGDONGFREECS, they are one of the best speed mode teams in the world, but still, that's gotta hurt so bad.
Right.
It was a frustrating day for them, but to turn it around here in item mode and play as well as they have, I mean, they haven't been gifted this by any means. It's not like they're getting the best, luckiest item setups track after track after track. They're finding the way to make whatever they're dealt work.
Absolutely. As we see Joker, he utilizes a magnet to catch up to the front of the pack, because Seongbin, he's absolutely running away right now with this lead that he's built himself. You can check where he's at on the right side of the camp. He has a phenomenal usage of shield there that's going to be able to give him that lead still.
Yeah, and with double shield too, now one of those does get popped. He's actually going to have to use a second one to deal with this water whisk coming out of Hojin. A lot of the aggro has been absorbed here by Sungbin, but the finish line only 500 meters away. You got to look to what the finish line is going to be. Now, there are Angel Shields on the board, but not a lot of attacks. His magnets get popped here. Sungbin, the lead racer for KWANGDONGFREECS, getting slowed down. These magnets might be the ticket for Sensation to go to an ace match, and yes, indeed, Peter. With a phenomenal set in item mode, Sensation fights back after the Freaks win 4-0 in speed to sweep them back in item mode with a 4-0 set score, and we're going to be going to an ace match, Peter. What a thrilling series here in the lower bracket finals.
Absolutely. This is exactly what I wanted to see, State. It feels like at this point it's hard to see which team it was better today, because right now it's going to be all decided by that final ace match. As you said, in item and speed, both teams have shown their strengths, and honestly, this is the ace match that we were looking for. A player like Hojin representing Sensation, you can see the relief on his face here for being able to buy for that ace match.
Yeah, and for a veteran to be showing that emotion, for a veteran to be able to show that much emotion, I don't know why that was such a hard sentence for me to say. You can really see how much this means to Hojin right now on stage. I mean, it's been an incredible journey for him here in the KDL. Coming as one of the most storied players, if not the most storied player of all time in the original Kartrider, to play the latest iteration of this game, bigger and better. He comes back in the KDL in Preseason 1. He's not looking to be the Hojin of old. He's looking weak, and a lot of the fans here, not just in Korea but around the world, are wondering, can Hojin ever really return to the form that he had back in Kartrider and now here in KDL Preseason 2, one of the top racers in team speed mode here in the finals, or excuse me, the lower bracket finals today, looking very strong, not just in speed, but in item mode. I mean, yes, they did get 4-0'd in speed, but Hojin, every single track, he was battling for that rank 1 spot, vying his hardest, and also in item mode, the same story. He was always setting his team up for that victory.
Oh yeah, we absolutely love seeing that story of Hojin kind of continue here as the Emperor of Kartrider, but now also looking to be the Emperor of Kartrider Drift. And if he wants to get that title for himself, he really needs to get more career in his pocket in KDL.
And the track is going to be World Tour New York Rally for the ace match. One lapper, very long one, very tricky one. One that can be hard to get the pass off on. So we'll see exactly how these players decide to take their lines as we're waiting to see what the selection is going to be from Team Sensation and Team KWANGDONGFREECS. And it's going to be World versus Hojin, a battle of the aces here in the lower bracket finals.
I love it, State. This is exactly what I would have expected to see from KWANGDONGFREECS, because World, he may have had a bit of a tough time with ace matches this season. He's lost one match against Ghost. He's won the other ace match against Summer, but in Preseason 1, he was undefeated, much like Jung. And I feel like absolutely KWANGDONGFREECS did choose their ace of the day today very wisely as we get ready to enter our ace match to decide it all in World Tour New York Rally.
A 1v1 here on the streets of New York. World versus Hojin will decide the fate of these two teams. The loser of this track, their team will be eliminated from the postseason here in the lower bracket finals as they are fighting for their tournament's life here in the KDL Preseason 2.
And Hojin, he's really tried there for a draft, but it seems like World, he did have a pretty good lead on the boost gauge. Up until Hojin, he was able to catch up now, so Hojin in a much more secure position.
Yeah, World a little bit ahead on that boost gauge, excuse me, is Hojin actually able to take the inner line there, is able to pass him. World looking to fight back right there, trying to find the inner. Hojin with a nice body block though, just zoning World out. We'll see if he's able to maintain it. No, in fact, World with a nice draft and boost, able to unseat Hojin from first place as we might have that lead continue to exchange hands here.
Yeah, and I love that Hojin, he was being creative there and took a completely different line from World. And it seems like, based on the boost gauges, Hojin, he may have a slight advantage here, and he's within draft range. Hojin, he's looking for that right now.
Wow, yeah, Hojin takes the draft right there and works his way up into first place there with a nice body block on World. And you can see Hojin right now, it's like he's looking through his rear view mirror, trying to find the best way to block World, as he's just zoning him out, coming into the latter portion of this track.
Yeah, absolutely, World. He does have a lot of catch-up to do. Hojin, he is looking to block every single angle coming out of World here. Now, World, when he goes for the inner, Hojin, he's there as well.
Yeah, Hojun taking such a tight inner line. It is do or die right now. World is going to see if he can try and pass him, but Hojun just delays everywhere. But World, he finds a breakaway on the inner line. Now on the straightaway, will Hojun be able to find the draft to pass World, or will the Freaks be booking their ticket? And it will be the Freaks emerging victorious here in the ace match as the Emperor is defeated in a 1v1 battle of the speed ace between both of these teams. And the Freaks, their dreams of a repeat tournament victory here in the KDL preseasons remain alive.
Man, that inner line from World was so good, and once that happened, you saw the distance being made by World. The gap was too big for Hojun to try to catch up. There was no chance for a draft there whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Hojun, he tried his best, and this was a valiant effort for Team Sensation, fighting back to force the ace match with a 4-0 item set after losing in speed mode in a crushing manner. And you can see the Freaks just very happy with this win. I mean, the pressure was on after Sensation stole all their momentum there in item mode. And the Emperor, while he may be defeated today, I guarantee you in the regular season, we will see him return bigger and better the same way we did from KDL Preseason 1 to Preseason 2.
Yeah, and you can see the trust that the members of Sensation really put in Hojun there. Despite the loss, they're really just trying to cheer him on because they know that Hojun has done so much for them here in Preseason 2. In fact, we might as well say that Hojun is one of the biggest reasons why Sensation was able to make it to the postseason here. And honestly, what a great run for Hojun.
Oh, absolutely. No question about him being one of the reasons why they're here. As we get a quick recap of the results, of course, 4-0 sweep in speed for the Freaks, and then a 4-0 sweep in item mode for Sensation, as we played the minimum amount of tracks, but we still went all the way to an ace match.
Yeah, it was very exciting to see our two teams battle it out. As you said, State, it was super close, neck and neck. Usually when we say that, it's because it went all the way down to a round of 5. Although we didn't go down to the round of 7 today, it feels so close in a different way.
Yeah, neither individual series really went the distance, and I was surprised by that because KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation, both in speed and item mode, you know, I do give an edge to KWANGDONGFREECS in speed, I do give an edge to Sensation in item mode, but I never in a million years imagined that we would have a 4-0 in each of those game modes. I thought it would be a much closer series overall, but at the end of the day, Freaks with a 4-0 win in speed, Sensation with 4-0 in item. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Absolutely, and now I feel a lot more hype to see World playing these ace matches because he beat Hojun, and I feel like that just adds more value to your win in ace matches. And KWANGDONGFREECS, honestly, they've been switching up their strats quite a bit here in Preseason 2. They weren't vying for just one member, constantly representing them in the ace matches. They went through a plethora of player changes. You know, we've seen Seongnam come out and Cool come out, but in the end, it's World who secures it for them.
Yeah, and I mean, both teams relying on their speed ace there in the 1v1 battle to keep their tournament dreams alive, and it will be the Freaks who emerge victorious and advance on to face the loser of the upper bracket finals later on in this tournament to decide whether or not they will make it to that grand final for a chance to repeat championships again. And I mean, World, he looks so strong there in the ace match. Freaks, they look so strong in speed, but they got to shore up that item mode.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you said, Sensation, they're going home off of this loss here because it was the lower bracket semifinals. And honestly, I feel like we just started our day, right? But we've already had so much Kart Rider Drift action, and I can't believe that there's such an exciting match still waiting for us here. ROX versus Liiv SANDBOX. I can't even begin to put my finger on who's going to win that one, really.
Yeah, we're going to get into that final matchup after this short break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute.
Nobody stopping me. nobody stopping me. Ain't nobody stopping me. Ain't nobody stopping me. Ain't nobody stopping me.
종료하겠습니다.
네? 아 진짜 장난이 장난. 아 깜짝아. 아.
들리지?
의지?
TVR 되지?
반응 빠르면 안 돼.
왜?
난 반응이 느려야 잘해. 대기장에서. 지금 너무 빠릿빠릿해.
잘 바꿀래?
다리? 너가 오늘 신비식이야. 우리
어디 먼저?
시원한 락스부터.
시원한 락스 경기력
시원하긴 하네.
여름이에요.
네, 하나, 둘, 셋. 아, 나 올리면서 내 얼굴 쳤어, 이거. 너무 아픈데?
감속되지 않으면서 선두권에 붙어있으려는 몸부림이죠.
지가 막 갑자기.
나 죽어.
갈고나. 나 포스 회복하고 싶어. 가봐.
죽였어.
나이스 3등.
아, 퍼펙트. 하이파이브.
나이스. 김지환 씨 평순 1 먹고 싶어서 나한테 스탑검. 미친 줄 알았어. 1번 썼어.
팔이 와 있어.
나 올라갈게 그러면.
앞에 나가볼게.
그냥 가봐 이거.
팔이야.
번개 하나 챙기고.
네. 생겼어 1번. 해지야. 해지 빠졌고 1번. 미사일.
뒤에가 불러.
알았어.
나 미끼야.
나 먼저요? 하나 챙게.
의자는 거 맞아.
형 가봐. 백골 맞춰야 돼. 계속 가. 깜빡! 맞췄어. 네. 봐야 돼.
이겼어.
뭐야? 캠핑 어때? 내가.
집중하고 있어요.
여기 들어가는 척하면서 바깥쪽으로 빠질 가능성도 있고 그냥 파버리네요. 오! 여기서 드랩 받고 가까이! 미식! 자, 타이밍은 쪽이 많아요. 없어요. 될 것 같은데요. 미식 와 나이스 블로킹.
세팅 종료하겠습니다.
네? 아 진짜 장난이 장난. 깜짝아. 나 목에 바로 쳐다봤. 진짜 동료인가 봐요. 세팅 끝났습니다. 진짜 이번에 진짜네. 마이크 체크 한 번씩 하자. 체크. Come on, I'm the Korean. 예. 알았어, 입 다물고 있더라고. 거나가 나보고 입 다물고 있으래. 예. 고정을 안 하네, 거나씨. 아니시고.
과연 어떤 식으로 올라갈 수 있느냐. 웨이브가 1대3을 버티기는 쉽진 않아 보이거든요.
제가 뚫을게. 나 왼쪽. 다원이 형 쫄을 펼쳐. 형이 그냥 달려줘, 일단. 자, 인. 나 가운데. 나 1분 해도 되나? 해.
1, 2, 3가 실수 없이 진짜 잘 가줍니다.
정주는 틀렸어요.
나이스. 양보 땡큐. 원래 잡을 생각 하고 있었는데 맞아. 자신감 좀 올리고 싶어서. 까비? 안 걸렸다. 걸렸어. 까비. 우리가 픽한 트랙은 무조건 이기고 가보자. 그럽니다. 뭐죠? 오랜만에 앉으니까 어때? 상대편 잘 보여요. 승민 씨 잘 보이.
눈 마주치면은 앞이 빼.
아이템 할 때 승민이가 째려보고 있어, 알았지? 나 투점차 먹었다, 나 하나. 나 미사일 팔이다. 내 앞에 붙을게. 오케이. 내 사람만 있어. 나 번개 먹었다. 세민이 형 뒤로 붙일게. 쳐봐. 꿀띠 미사일. 됐다. 1퍼 줬어. 나 번개 2개. 나 좀 많이 걸어. 많이 걸어? 많이 걸어야 돼. 나 번개 하나 흐를게. 나 있다. 하지 마봐, 인데. 힘이 줬어. 물가. 물라포. 맞지 마봐. 쓸게. 미안해. 빨렸어. 물 쳤어, 앞에. 어디 먼저 해. 용준아. 살짝만 빼봐. 이거 현재는 안 잘려. 사이드. 팔이 와요. 천천히 해봐. 나 맞다, 이거. 번개 내가 콜할게. 나 원볼 해야 돼. 나 빨렸다. 챙길까? 챙겨봐. 오케이. 나 여기가 물 하나 해봐. 오케이, 잠깐만. 하나, 둘, 셋, 고! 해봐. 지금. 먼저 해. 네. 맞지마. 자. 3 맞아. 필터 써줘. 살렸는데. 편하게 해야 돼. 스탑했어. 죽였어. 나이스. 셋 중에 정하자. 성민이 오늘 안 한대? 하고 싶어? 나 오늘 안 할래. 하고 싶어? 가위바위보? 아니 하고 싶어 진짜? 나?
아 근데 여기서 이글 나오면은 좀 쫄려.
내가 해?
너 자신 있어?
나 자신은 그냥 반반이야. 뉴욕이랑.
나도 반반이야. 가위바위보 할까?
아 가위바위보 말고 형 확실히 할 거야 안 할 거야? 윤준아 나 봐봐. 왜? 너 해봐.
나? 야 근데 나 진짜 저도 뭐라 하지 마라.
괜찮아. 진짜 저도 돼 편하게.
그래도 서버가 그동안 쌓여있던 에이스 결정전의 그 경험치가 분명히 있어요. 드랩 타임이 좋았어요. 드랩 타임이 너무 좋았거든요, 서버. 자, 이제 맨 마지막에 드랩 상황을 보기 위해서 서버도 조절을 좀 해줘야 되죠. 사이드인데! 거리! 보기 힘듭니다. 근데 드랩이 터질 것 같아요.
아 말 좀.
아 말. 내 맞아.
형도 콕.
양말. 아 난 좋은데? 양말. 양말. 아니야 난 붙여줘. 양말.
노준현
뭐야 평순 2등이라고? 나 몇 등이야? 너 19등이야. 아씨.
괜찮아 당연아 너 개인전 결승 갔잖아
오케이. 여행 라이더요. 꽤 막아.
해볼게. 1.6 설만.
한다. 형님 2대1 좀 해야겠다. 빨고 와.
카드 받고 울어줘.
할게 내가 이거는. 우리 6킬 가능?
봐봐 형나 2대1.
아 이거 원투 해야겠다.
아 때려야 돼?
이럴게.
아 형이 때려가자. 나 빨린다.
기다려. 형은 머리 흔들었다 안 흔들었어? 흔들었어. 오른쪽 갔어.
재밌는 사람 써야 돼.
이게 한번 할게 나.
먼저 써야 돼.
먹었다.
오케이. 이거 콩핀이 써야겠다.
오케이 내가 해볼게.
가봐. 내가 다 따줄게.
몇등 사줄까 나는?
내가
일등,
쏠게,
일등,
내가.
일등.
내가 가래 쏠게 가래. 천천. 가래 한번 더 땄어.
힘이 하나 더.
받았어.
까먹었어. 형 그냥 가봐.
그냥 가래. 나이스. 와우. 이겼으면 됐어.
잘했어. 실드 들고. 잘했어.
거의 붙어 있습니다. 손이 넣어줘.
와, 드랩 타이밍에 손흥민이 진짜 기가 막히게.
그런데 이거 넘어갔어요. 호준이 넘어갑니다.
이거 호준이 이거 보여줘. 빌드. 슈가 보여줘.
Welcome back to the first day of the KDL postseason, everybody. We just wrapped up the lower bracket finals with the KWANGDONGFREECS emerging victorious in an ace match over Team Sensation, and now it is time for the final match of the day, the upper bracket finals between Liiv SANDBOX and ROX esports.
We're gonna start by introducing the players of ROX onto the stage, and I feel like there has been so much focus on Ding being the new added lineup to ROX. It has brought them such great success, no longer relying on ace matches to win.
Yeah, ROX has really become a very well-rounded team here in the KDL Preseason 2 as the addition of Ding, their new runner, has proved to be worth its weight in gold. Ding is such a good racer in Team Speed, topping the charts, the #1 racer so far this season. And Team Speed and Jung, always been the ace in the hole in those 1v1 ace matches, but here they are coming against a giant, a retooled and rekitted Liiv SANDBOX that has also added in some new roster with the new Speed ace Youngsu coming onto stage, and their global player Neil leading the charge as Liiv SANDBOX, they've had to come back and reinvent themselves a little bit here in KDL Preseason 2, of course losing some players.
Right.
After KDL Preseason 1, but they're looking as strong as ever already here in the upper bracket finals. Only one series win away from a ticket to the grand finals.
Absolutely, and when we talk about Liiv SANDBOX as a team, It's always about how clean they are playing. They make such little mistakes, rarely getting any collisions at all. So Seongnam ROX, they do have quite an opponent for themselves here today.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good match. These teams incredibly even as Seongnam ROX enters the upper bracket finals. First in the main stage, can they make it all the way to the finals? Of course, this is not a winner-go-home series, given that it's the upper bracket here. Both these teams have one life. Should they lose this series, they will face KWANGDONGFREECS in the final match qualifying for the grand finals, as ROX Esports says that they will take their revenge, head to the grand finals first here over LSB.
Yeah, in fact, in the Korean words, they're saying kind of how they'll do it in such a cool style, in a way where it's like, boom, in one go. So they're really looking for a clean win here against Liiv SANDBOX today, and if ROX is able to pull that off, I mean, they might be one of our favorites.
Absolutely. Liiv SANDBOX is looking really strong in the upper bracket finals 2 seasons in a row, as the Invincible Fleet remains strong despite the roster changes. Liiv SANDBOX does seem quite as strong as ever. One of the most well-rounded teams here alongside ROX Esports. A very big reason why they're here in the upper bracket finals instead of the lower bracket finals is they're showing off.
God, those little face emojis there. Well made.
Yeah, beautiful. Nice to meet you guys again. We had fun last time. Let's make it today enjoyable too.
Yeah, I
A little
like
bit
that.
tongue-in-cheek here from Liiv SANDBOX. Of course, they want to emerge victorious here against ROX Esports, and this should be a very thrilling match. I doubt we're going to get the same kind of set score that we had in the first series today between KWANGDONGFREECS and Sensation, where the Freaks won 4-0 in speed and Sensation won 4-0 in item. I think ROX Esports and Liiv SANDBOX, they're so evenly matched, both in speed mode and in item mode, that I really do think we're going to go the distance.
Absolutely. It was recently Liiv SANDBOX taking a win over ROX Esports, so ROX Esports looking for that vengeance today. Round 1 pick is going to be up for ROX and Speed. And I feel like, oh, there we go. Before I could even say Desert Construction Chaos, I like that one.
Is that what you expected coming out from ROX? Because I certainly didn't. They're only 1-1 on this track, whereas, you know, Glacier Extreme Stadium, that's the map I was expecting them to pick as their #1 track. They are 5-0, undefeated so far this season. But, you know, it's one of those tracks that also Liiv SANDBOX is very good at, so perhaps that's one of the reasons why it's not such a priority pick for them.
Right. I like what you said there. I do agree, State. And of course, Japan Circuit going to come out for Liiv SANDBOX. It's going to be a track that they haven't prioritized too much in the main stage, but, you know, I can see why a lot of teams have been going for that WKC priority.
Yeah, especially if you've been practicing these tracks, because a lot of the pro teams haven't played the WKC tracks too often so much here in KDL Preseason 2. Mind-Winding Slips comes through as the ban here for ROX Esports. So if you can come through with like a new build here in the postseason, or something you've been saving up over the course of the preseason, then it can pay off in spades.
Absolutely. And of course, it's interesting to see that, I know you talked about ROX banning out Winding Slopes, but Liiv SANDBOX banning out 3 shortcuts. Both the mine tracks, not very popular between the two teams here today.
Yeah, neither team really wants to go to the mines, as
I agree. I've never been there before.
Seongnam ROX, they've only played 2 tracks in total on the mine biome, and Liiv SANDBOX as well has only played 2 tracks. And while Seongnam ROX won their 2 mine tracks, and
Oh, another one.
Liiv SANDBOX lost their 2 mine tracks, still that's not enough confidence for Seongnam ROX to be like, okay, that's going to be our pick. So
Right, the ROX coming in for their second choice on WKC Brazil circuit. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Seongnam from Liiv SANDBOX in the audience here cheering on Liiv SANDBOX.
very cool to see him here showing up, supporting his favorite team. As Singapore Circuit now is the pick coming in from Liiv SANDBOX. Another interesting one is all the WKC tracks getting picked for round 2, round 3, round 4. So guaranteed to see each one of those here in this series.
This is incredible, State.
Yeah, it's surprising.
I've
It's
never
very
seen this
surprising.
before. All 3 tracks of WKC, were playing in them in speed, and they are back-to-back.
Yeah, back to back to back. And it's surprising too, because again, neither of these teams have really played a lot of the WKC tracks. Seongnam ROX on Brazil circuit, you know, they went 1-1 in the preseason. On Japan circuit, they went 1-1 on Singapore circuit. They lost both times they played on it. For Liiv SANDBOX, similar story, 1-1 on Singapore and on Japan. So neither team is especially good on these tracks, but I guess they think that they can find some kind of edge here against their opponents. And it is one of those situations where these tracks, they are very evenly matched despite not having played a lot of games on them. So We'll see what builds they come out with once we get there, as Factory
Absolutely.
Facility 5 is the band coming up from Seongnam ROX. Not a surprise they're going up against the inventor of the Neil build, of course, Neil himself.
Yeah, makes sense there. And the 5th pick, or rather the 3rd track for ROX as well, is going to be World Tour Terracotta Twister. And this is a track that both teams have had so much success on. And it's no surprise that we're going to see that right there.
Yeah, Liiv SANDBOX comes through. This is another track where both teams are very successful, so it's kind of been an interesting draft where the WKC tracks where these teams are very unproven, and then
Wow.
Terracotta Twister and Extreme Stadium being the picks where, you know, both teams have quite a high success rate.
Right.
Those is not really what you expect. And also, Zigzag Timberland are going to be the last selection here for ROX Esports. Now, they went 1-3 on this track over the course of the regular season, so it is a little bit of an unexpected choice here coming up against Liiv SANDBOX. But of course, it's track number 7. You don't have too many options at your disposal. As you know, coming through with the speed track list, I don't really think that either team is especially favored here. It's really hard for me to find, you know, one team that has an edge after this draft.
Yeah, it's going to be a super close matchup. And if we take a look at the previous match, in Preseason 2, when Liiv SANDBOX played against ROX, they won 3-2 Liiv SANDBOX in both matches. So it's going to be tough for ROX to really try to come back here. But now we are in the item pick and ban phase. We see Liiv SANDBOX first picking Mine Magma Cavern.
Yeah, good choice there for Liiv SANDBOX. They've always been very good on that track. As Liiv SANDBOX, coming in from KDL Preseason 1, was one of the best item mode teams we had here in the league. And
Right.
KDL Season 2, they still are one of the best, but ROX Esports has done a great job of closing the distance. Went from really one of the worst teams in item mode to, you know, a very respectable, positive win rate record as they wave to us, the fans, the audience, the casters here. The roaming crane arm right above them, as Sphinx's Riddle going to beat track number 2 here in this series as well. And the bands now coming in. Village Clock Tower Crossing, the first track banned out from ROX Esports. Not very surprising there. They only played that track once. They did lose on it. And Cogwheel Crush, the ban for Liiv SANDBOX.
Interesting. So it seems like Desert Sphinx's Riddle and My Magma Cavern were kind of like the choice of picks for both teams throughout the whole preseason too. So
Yeah.
both teams are feeling pretty confident with what's in their pocket now. And of course, Liiv SANDBOX, they do have a second track of choice. It's going to be Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
Yeah, going back to the desert, so from Sphinx's Riddle, we will move on to Pharaoh's Pass. Now, ROX Esports does have a 100% win rate on this map, but Liiv SANDBOX still confident they can pick up a win despite being 0-2 during the regular season leading up to the postseason on that track. Perhaps they have something cooked up for us.
Absolutely. It feels like a lot of the draft isn't really going based on the results we've seen just in preseason 2, because if we were going off that, then we could even talk about bands like Factory Cogwheel Crush being super surprising, because it feels like Liiv SANDBOX, they could have handled that one.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice, but also, you know, Cogwheel Crush, it is one where Seongnam ROX, although
They first pick it a lot as well.
Yeah, they first pick it a lot. They play it all the time. And although their record isn't fantastic on that track, it's 4-3 overall, it's still positive. And also they have a ton of experience, more than Liiv SANDBOX for sure. So still a smart band coming out of Liiv SANDBOX, as World Tour London Night going to be the selection here for round 4.
London Night is going to be a track that's an interesting pickup for ROX. They picked it up the most out of any tracks in item, but they haven't found too much success on it, so I'm glad to see that they still have confidence in that track.
Yeah, over the course of the preseason, they picked that track 85% of their matches. So basically every single series, I think mathematically that means that they only didn't pick it in one of them, which is a surprising result there for ROX Esports. And bands now coming in. Brody's Gloom and Village Town Hall will be the bands coming into round 5, round 6, round 7 selection here. And of course, Mushroom Caves coming out as track number 5 here for Liiv SANDBOX. And I like that. I like this track a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the most beautiful tracks, in my opinion, here, especially in item mode. I'm glad that we're probably going to see it here at the round 5, unless one of these teams pulls out the same kind of performance that, Sensation did against KWANGDONGFREECS there with a 4-0 win in item.
Yep, we haven't seen too much out of Liiv SANDBOX yet in Mushroom Cave, so it's going to be a bit of a mystery box there as we have the third track locked in for ROX. It's going to be Mine Mother Load, and this is one of their tracks that they always kind of went to as a go-to in item mode. It is their second or third most picked track along with Sphinx's Riddle.
And Glacier Hole Halfpipe is going to be where we close this one out. Should we go all the way to a track number 7? Of course, Water Balloon's very effective on that track where, well, it's hard to get up on the sides. As you kind of see there in little picture-in-picture, little preview screen. And also, Liiv SANDBOX always been crafty with their item mode tracks. If it does go to around 7, I got to give the edge to them there. I feel like they're the kind of team that can best utilize that shortcut portion of the map.
Absolutely. If anyone can do it, it's these teams right here we're seeing today in the postseason. That's why they made it here, State. We've had such an exciting start to the day between KWANGDONG and Sensation. And now we're here, ROX versus Liiv SANDBOX. And ROX, they're looking for the vengeance today.
Yeah, as the speed track list now comes through, ROX with a speed priority here, picking 4 out of the 7 tracks. We're going to go to Desert Construction Chaos to start things off. After that, Japan circuit, Brazil circuit, Singapore circuit, all the circuits before we round things out on Terracotta Twister, Extreme Stadium, and Zigzag Timberland. Should we go to around 5, 6, and 7?
I am really excited to see what happens in speed because back-to-back WKCs, it's going to be crazy. All the tracks are fairly wide, and it's mostly about the lines you take as well as the sweeping. So it's going to be exciting to see that exchange being made between both teams here. And today, KWANGDONGFREECS, they showed a fantastic usage of that sweeper position, being able to beat out Sensation 4-0 off of their fantastic blocks. And honestly, in this speed mode here as well between ROX and Liiv SANDBOX, we will most likely see that repeat.
Yeah, it was so clutch for the KWANGDONGFREECS in speed mode, as you know, sweeping really does seem to be the pivotal role a lot of the time here, and it can be the difference between a team that goes home and a team that eventually becomes a champion. As Liiv SANDBOX and ROX Esports have to get ready to go into speed mode now on track number 1. We're going to start things out on Desert Construction Chaos.
We begin our first round of speed between Seongnam ROX and Liiv SANDBOX. It seems like ROX, they have a 50% track win rate here. Liiv SANDBOX, no record for them.
Yeah, Liiv SANDBOX getting their feet wet here on Desert Construction Chaos, is they haven't played this track very much at all here in the KDL, and we'll see what they have up their sleeves as they're off to a great start. Hyunsu, oh, I say that and I kind of jinx it a little bit with Hyunsu falling all the way down into 6th place. He was leading the charge there for Liiv SANDBOX for a moment, but now it's Hyunsu and Neil coming up against Litzy and Jung.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking rough right now. Hyunsu and Neil, their mission is 1-2 right now, which is a tall task in Construction Chaos. We always get to that part where there's a sharp turn, and a lot of players have to slow down to adjust. ROX, they will likely try to take the 1-2 during that.
Yeah, and this uphill section of Construction Chaos is so critical because there's so many body blocks. There's oftentimes so many collisions that can happen with all these 90-degree turns, especially on the uphill slope with not a lot of speed. As ROX Esports, although they haven't yet unseated Hyunsu from the first ranked position, Litzy, Jung, and Ding off to a fantastic start, holding down the 2, 3, 4 positions. And here on the straightaway, building a lot of nitro gauge.
Absolutely, Hyunsu, he's doing a phenomenal job so far, buying a lot of time and breathing room for Liiv SANDBOX. Neil and Byungsu, they want to catch up, but that 2, 3, 4 is looking so good for ROX.
Yeah, ROX Esports Jung even able to work his way up into first place right here up against Hyunsu as he's battling in a 1v3 right now, as Byungsu is going to try and lend some support, but it feels like he's just a little bit too far away, and Zitzy's identified the win condition here for ROX is just to consolidate at the front of the pack, so he's playing a little bit more of a sweeping role. See his lines focusing a little bit on just keeping away Byungsu and Neil, or at least slowing them down as best he can, as opposed to staying at the front of the pack. Absolutely,
it's Ding and Jung in the front of the pack for ROX, which is the ideal scenario, and their players, they slow down. Neil and Dutzy, they're going to take some collisions off that, and it's ROX sitting at 1-3-5-7.
Some really big collisions right here with only 500 meters left to go. Hyunsu is in first place, but that might not be enough, especially with Ding passing him with a massive jump, as ROX Esports is not going to just get the high place, they're going to get the 1-2-3 finish with Ding, Spell, and Jung. Off to a great start here, man. I mean, ROX Esports, from the very first part of the upper section here on this Desert Construction Chaos, lap number 1, felt like they were in control, and they just maintained that momentum all the way through this track.
Absolutely. Just as you put it, State, it was that Seongnam ROX game plan coming in. They're often going for that 1-2, and it was Ding coming in first place. And Jung, he was there the whole time, pressuring that top 4, and I feel like that was so pivotal in ROX taking this win.
Yeah, Jong and Ding are going to be the two racers that you got to keep your eye on the most here in speed mode for ROX Esports. Now, that is not to take anything away from the remaining roster of ROX, but that's some fantastic comedy right there.
Yeah.
But Jong and Ding, they've just been so good, so consistent, not just in KDL Preseason 1, but here in KDL Preseason 2 is Jong undefeated in ace matches, was the backbone of this team through the first preseason. Now here in the second preseason, Ding has kind of pulled up the torch a little bit for this team. The #1 ranked racer here in team speed mode, and you can see why as ROX Esports off to a great start here, winning track #1. Let's see if they can keep it up on WKC Japan circuit. And we start our tour of the WKC tracks now. We're going to play all 3 of them back to back to back. Track 2, 3, and 4. With Liiv SANDBOX's first pick, Japan circuit, the second track in this series.
Absolutely, Liiv SANDBOX looking so good here right now. A complete control over the top half of the positions as we see Dutzy is trying to make his way, provide that support for Ding, but Liiv SANDBOX, they're just cornering in like a group of birds.
Like a group of birds indeed, Peter. As Liiv SANDBOX consolidating right now has all top 3 positions. Spell, Ding, and Dutzy are trying to break in, and Dutzy here with the New York City tour bus is able to work his way up into 3rd place and trying to alleviate a little bit of the support, but here on the straightaway, the draft's just not enough yet for ROX to really unseat Youngsu and Neil, and you know they would love to do that, love to cause some problems here on lap #2 for Liiv SANDBOX, because 1-2 is the win condition for LSB. Is so scary here for ROX Esports.
Absolutely. Right now, Jung is all the way in the back, which is not what you want to see. Ding, he is struggling to catch up as well. A lot of pressure right now. Oh, Ding, just as I say that,
yeah,
he catches right back up. But it doesn't change the fact that Liiv SANDBOX has such a dominating 1-2.
Yeah, the 1-2 right now for Liiv SANDBOX is very strong. You can even see a lot of sweeping coming in from Hyunsu is nice. He connects with 2 racers, actually connects hard with Ding there. Taking a lot of momentum from ROX Esports' lead Chargers. And now it's just Spell trying to contest up there, but you see the distance that has been created from this great sweeping by LSB.
Absolutely, the sweeping has been on point. So are Neil and Byungsu just sticking to their lines, putting a lot of emphasis on not making a mistake, which is what Liiv SANDBOX is known for.
And now Jimin coming through, the hybrid player, former item ace here for LSB, doing a great job of body blocking ROX Esports as it feels like LSB is running away with this one here on lap #3. ROX, if they want to come through with something, it's going to have to come in now, but the distance just seems too great, Peter, as the 1-2 build is in the card for LSB. I got to say, Hyunsu and Jimin really stealing the show with phenomenal sweeping.
Absolutely. That was Kart Rider Drift team mode played to its finest, where you have 2 players just untouchable, focusing on their own build throughout the whole entire match, while you can have 2 sweepers really just looking to mess up their opponents. And what a beautiful play coming out of Liiv SANDBOX here.
Yeah, I mean, Hyunsu and Jimin just stole any momentum that ROX had, and as a result, Neil actually setting a new record here on this track, besting Hojin about 0.2 of a second. So that's a sizable amount of time here once you get to the pro level.
Yeah.
As Neil just was really undisturbed for the majority of that race, able to drive along with his buddy there in positions 1 and 2.
Our fan here coming to see Neil. Neil is such a popular player, man. He has such a career behind him. He has the showmanship. This is the superstar we need in KDL.
Absolutely. Let's see if Liiv SANDBOX can continue to fight back as we move on to track #3, WKC Brazil circuit. SANDBOX with a nice race there on track #2, able to tie things up 1-1 and off to a fantastic start again, Peter.
Absolutely. Liiv SANDBOX just killing it right now with these WKC circuits. Jimin, he's going to go for a wide line there, but that's going to give him more boost gauge, so I'm sure Jimin's going to be content with playing sweeper now.
Yeah, that was surprising there from Jimin. I mean, on that straightaway, going for that build to just maximize the amount of team boost and really lend some support to his buddies is going to assist not just himself, but also Neil and Byungsu, and kind of running away with this one, as once again, Byungsu and Liiv SANDBOX doing a fantastic job of holding on to the top 2 position. It's really only Ding contesting, and now the sweeping coming in as Jimin, the hybrid player, Just continuing with these body blocks, absolutely relentless. Now Jung joining the fray, and Spell as well. A 3v1 is Jimin, a little bit ambitious there with that body block, actually clipping the tire, so he's almost hard locked right now in position 8 here after lap number 1, but still, he's done his job in the midfield. As you can see the distance between Byung-Soo, Neil, and the remaining racers on ROX.
But Angry ROX is underway. Byung-Soo and Neil, you better watch out. Jung and Ding, they have their eyes set on a goal right now, which is to break apart the 1-2 from Liiv SANDBOX. But Hyunsoo is here to try to do some sweeping.
Yeah, Hyunsoo's going to try and do the remaining sweeping here for Team LSB, as Jung is able to work his way all the way up into second place. So there's no longer a 1-2 finish here in the cards for LSB. And that's very good here for ROX Esports if they can maintain, especially now with Ding also entering the charges. Byung-Soo fell all the way down to 4th place, actually significantly behind his teammate Neil.
Absolutely, right now it's all up to Neil to keep up that first place, at least so that Byung-Soo can catch up. Hyunsoo and Jimin, they can try to do something, but Liiv SANDBOX, if they stick with that 7 and 8 position, it's going to be really rough if Byung-Soo can't recover.
Yeah, but I think ROX Esports might have gotten this one, man. Ding is running away with this as he's been able to beat Neil in the 1v1. And ROX Esports with a 1-3-4-6 finish is able to rebound at lap number 2 on Brazil's circuit. Liiv SANDBOX was off to a great start, but perhaps Jimin maybe a little bit too ambitious with that block there. Did not allow the sweeping to come through that Liiv SANDBOX desperately needed. I mean, if you're going to commit players to sweeping like that, then you really need to secure the high place win there as LSB. But you know, Jimin being out of the cards and then Hyunsoo being so far back means that ROX Esports, Ding and Jung especially, were able to kind of be off to the races there, close the distance on Neil and Byung-Soo and deliver a win.
Absolutely, ROX setting a new record, as you put it, State. Ding, this player has been in such top form in Preseason 2, and you can see him really start to shine here in round number 3. And when these superstars start shining, you can't stop him. The train of Seongnam ROX, it started its move.
Yeah, man, up 2-1 now in this best of 7 series. Is Neil undisturbed, just fighting. Looks at the camera, a lot of confidence with that guy. Of course, the only global player here in the KDL. We got a replay of lap number 1. For a second, I thought with those tires, we might actually see Jimin going for that big block. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, Jimin, once he lost that momentum, as you put it, State, he was hard locked in that 8th place, and it was really hard for Liiv SANDBOX once Neil and Byung-Soo lost that 1-2 lead.
Yeah, I mean, if Hyunsoo was a little bit higher in the rankings there, then Jimin sacrificing himself for the cause and trying to do that big sweep doesn't hurt as bad. But as it was, Liiv SANDBOX unable to recover, as we'll see if they can bounce back here in track number 4. We're going to move to our 3rd and final WKC track in this series. It'll be Singapore Circuit.
Off we go into speed round number 4. Seongnam ROX leading 2-1 so far. And in the positions as well, they are having a pretty good start.
Yeah, this is a really nice start here for ROX Esports. A lot of small collisions at the very beginning here of lap number 1, but Zutzi able to break away as a result of it. Spell also right behind him, but man, we have a hotly contested front of the pack here. I mean, Ding as well, also trying to do his best, as Liiv SANDBOX has to play a bit of catch-up here instead of the role they've got to play the last couple of tracks. You know, track number 2, track number 3, it was all about getting those rank 1, rank 2 positions and then having the midfield sweep for you. Here in track number 4, gonna be a little bit more difficult with Spell actually leading the charge.
Definitely difficult right now. Liiv SANDBOX are big. Yeah.
Just very nice collisions coming out of Ditzy right there on Liiv SANDBOX's players. Now he is gonna fall all the way back down into 4th place, but those collisions slowed down Jimin and Neil quite a bit. As Spell actually running away with this one a little bit here. Still able to maintain 1st place despite having 3 LSB racers right behind him.
Exactly, the 3 players of Liiv SANDBOX, that is what's crucial right now, applying so much pressure in this top line. They're buying time for Byung-Soo to try to catch up to at least 7th place, and Neil taking that 1st place is going to be huge. That's a momentum swing for Liiv SANDBOX.
But keep in mind that Jung also can take advantage of that time. So although Jimin, Hyunsoo, and Neil right now are sitting in positions 1, 2, and 3, this is lap number 2, and we have a lot of track left to be played here. This lap's only just now begun. See if Ding can try and break away here on this straightaway. Now he is in 3rd place as Jung Spell actually working his way all the way back to 6 and 7. So Byung-Soo and Neil doing a good job of zoning them out.
Absolutely. Keep in mind that Byung-Soo, he was in 8th place, so this catch-up from him is phenomenal now. Byung-Soo, he just manages to pass by Ding and apply so much pressure to Ding right now by going directly against his line. I
mean, the speed ace for Liiv SANDBOX doing some fantastic sweeping, and this is looking a lot like track number 2 here. with Jimin and Hyunsu, the two racers this time for Liiv SANDBOX, kind of running away with this one as the sweeping has been so good for this team. And we're only 40 meters away, but you just see the sweeping continue on. This straightaway, there's no way ROX esports is going to be able to catch the high finish, 1-2 finish there for LSB. As you know, lap number 1, it felt a little bit scary for them. It felt like they had to kind of change their game plan a bit and play catch up. And once they did, I mean, they were able to successfully do it. And then it was Byung-Soo and Neil, you know, the speed ace and the storied runner on this team who switched roles into basically sweepers and just completely locked down ROX esports behind their 1-2 finish of Hyunsu and Jimin.
Yeah, I love that Hyunsu and Jimin, they were able to really just make up for Neil being in 8th place, which is not usually their go-to strategy. And I feel like Byung-Soo being able to catch up from all the way in the back, it really added a lot of momentum to Liiv SANDBOX here in round number 4. We are tied 2-2 right now, State.
What
wow.
an incredible drawing. Look at that. All those
The
characters.
talent. It's so well made. It's like, I can't even draw that if I traced it.
Yeah, man, I couldn't. Oh, man, my tracings would not be as good as that. That was gorgeous.
Our players are great at Kart Rider Drift, and our fans are great at art. We love to see that synergy coming in, but now we are ready for a round 5 in World Tour Terracotta Twister.
All tied up 2-2 right now in the best of 7 speed mode as ROX esports versus Liiv SANDBOX is absolutely living up to the hype. Now Byung-Soo off to a fantastic start again here on track number 5.
Absolutely, Liiv SANDBOX. They are always trying to run away with these leads in lap 1, and they just try to never give it up, and it has been working out in 2 of their wins so far. A very nice grip, 1-3-4-5 for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, their midfield is looking really strong. There's actually some bad collisions there for ROX esports. It's going to slow down their 6-7-8 quite a bit more as Junky's trying to close the distance. We'll see if any sweeping comes through here in the tomb section. Now, very precarious. You try to take the tightest possible lines because one collision could send you off course.
Jimin, he tried for those, but he couldn't execute anyone, but he's bought so much time. ROX is really being slowed down on the back of Jimin's blocks right now.
Goodness, yeah, Jimin's blocking has been so superb today. Just excelling at the sweeping role right now for Team Liiv SANDBOX is the distance. You can see it on the minimap. It is massive between Neil, Hyunsu, and Byung-Soo, and the rest of the ROX players. I mean, it's really only Ding right now fighting for ROX esports, but they need more than that. They need players to actually break in and break up the 2-3-4.
We are seeing that strategy we've seen earlier from KWANGDONGFREECS, where all 4 players are just winning right now, and that's the story for Liiv SANDBOX here. ROX, this is the final lap, so they need to catch up in the tomb section at least.
Yeah, Ding has been able to work his way up into first place. And a valiant effort despite being outnumbered massively up there with the Liiv SANDBOX players right behind him. Once again, coming through the tomb section, no one taking any extremely dangerous lines. Very cleanly executed right there, but ROX esports, they have to make something happen. 2-3-4 is a win condition here with LSB. Only 500 meters left to go.
Dutzy and Jung, they need to try to beat Jimin and Hyunsu somehow. Dutzy, he was looking for the ender there, but his opponents are too far. And Liiv SANDBOX, they secure a victory with a 1-3-4 finish.
Yeah, very well played there by LSB. As you know, even if Neil hadn't been able to work his way up into first place there and unseat Ding, 2-3-4 still a win condition there. As Liiv SANDBOX, it feels like this series especially, they have been very good at identifying their win conditions here in speed mode. It's oftentimes high place. In this case, it was a 2-3-4. But once they identify that win condition, they play into it hard with the sweeping. I mean, Jimin in lap number 1 was absolutely fantastic. And then the speed ace, Byung-Soo, even trading places with Jimin and taking over that sweeping role.
Right.
And allowing Jimin to be the anchor there in the 2-3-4 was so solid for LSB. And I mean, they're just on a roll so far, and I feel like the synergy on LSB is really what's been carrying them to victory after victory.
Yeah, and keep in mind they're pulling this off against Seongnam ROX, who is the first seed from our main stage. So Liiv SANDBOX, they just need one more win here to secure a win as we move into round number 6 in Glacier Extreme Stadium. Liiv SANDBOX looking to close out speed round 6 right here, right now. As we take a look at the track winning rate, ROX, they're at 100%. Liiv SANDBOX, they have a 75.
Yeah, match point right now for Liiv SANDBOX, but ROX Esports is off to one of their best starts in a while. 2-3-4 is in the cards here on lap number 1 with Spell, Dutzy, and Ding right behind the Speed Ace Byung-Soo, and Dutzy actually able to pass him here on the straightaway.
Yeah, ROX has a pretty good position right now. We know that this track has been a popular pick for both teams, and you can see how hotly contested the middle field is.
That's very close, but ROX Esports has done such a good job, and actually some big collisions there as Dutzy, I think he might have been going for a body block, instead he's going to fall all the way down to 8th place. So ROX Esports, now it's much more about the 1-2 finish instead of having the full pack here at the lead, as Jung going to be doing a little bit of sweeping here in the hairpin turns on lap number 1.
Absolutely, Dutzy is going to be able to beat out Neil in that line, finally buying some more space, but it's no different story right now. Ding, he's going to lose that first place. LSB 1-2-4.
Yeah, LSB looking really strong yet again as ROX Esports, their front of the pack has been falling apart a little bit right here on that straightaway after they passed it at lap number 2, and now Hyunsu and Jimin, if they can carry this 1-2 finish, that's going to be their ticket into item mode, and some bad collisions right now.
Yeah, I usually like those collisions, but now that's going to be no more advantage in that top 4. Liiv SANDBOX, they are still leading, mostly as a team. They're going to try to recover with the 1-3-4. Yeah,
Jung really wants to work his way up into first place here. Byung-Soo, though, the speed ace for Liiv SANDBOX, hot on his tail. Jung, if he wants to make a play, it's going to have to happen on this hairpin turns, as Byung-Soo actually working his way up into 3rd place, solidifying Liiv SANDBOX a little bit, but ROX actually in the points lead. We'll see if Jung's able to work his way up into first place here. Oh, he loses a lot of momentum, though, and now the 1-2, it's in the cards.
The 1-2 is what Liiv SANDBOX is looking for. Spell, he is not able to block it out, and Liiv SANDBOX with the miracle 1-2 run.
What a win there from Liiv SANDBOX on Glacier Extreme Stadium. Able to deliver the victory for them here in speed mode, as they got to be very happy with this one. Keep in mind, ROX Esports, I believe they did take speed mode as their map draft priority. So Liiv SANDBOX coming into item, going to be feeling very confident picking up this series win.
Absolutely. It's been really, I must say, a dominating fashion every time we've seen Liiv SANDBOX wins. That's just really on my mind right now. Although Seongnam ROX, they won 2 rounds of their own in speed, it's like I can't even remember them because of how strong Liiv SANDBOX was.
Yeah, when Liiv SANDBOX wins, it's a destruction, as they are just working so well together as a team. The sweeping in particular, especially on, the WKC tracks, and Terracotta Twister was so superb. Jimin especially falling into that role so well, and even the Speed Ace Byung-Soo. Speed Ace, in name, you are the player that, is supposed to be the fastest on your team, are supposed to be the lead guitarist, basically, in like the rock band, so to speak, or the lead singer, so to say. But, Byung-Soo, not a man of ego. He plays that sweeping role very well for LSB on the tracks where they need him to do it, and LSB, as a result, with a 4-2 win in speed mode. Now, with some roster changes coming into item mode, as Neil does get swapped out, Dalda swapped in here for LSB, Plansy also coming in for ROX Esports. The item aces now going to have to lead the charge here for their teams, and for ROX Esports, you're playing to win and force that ace match, which you have been so clutch in, not just in KDL Preseason 2, but in KDL Preseason 1.
Right.
For Liiv SANDBOX, you're just playing to win here in item mode and book that ticket to the grand finals.
If there's anything I know, State, it's that a matchup between Seongnam ROX and Liiv SANDBOX has always been super close. Just like we've seen in speed mode today, it went down all the way to round 6, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see that repeat here in item mode. Of course, Liiv SANDBOX, they had the track priority here. They picked up Mine Magma Cavern, which is a huge track for them. They played this track so many times to great success. ROX Esports also on Desert Sphinx's Riddle. This is a very much of a comfort pick for them.
Yeah, some very comfortable picks for both teams coming out, especially the first couple of rounds. But after that, anything can happen, as London Knight, Mushroom Caves, Motherlode, and Glacier Polar Halfpipe. Neither team has especially much of a lead there, and if they do, it feels like it's not because they're significantly better than their opponents. It's more because the other team might not have as much experience. So it should be a very close series, much similar to Speed. Speed was a 4-2 set. I would not be surprised if Item also went to 4-2 or 4-3.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking so close today in the matchup between Seongnam ROX and Liiv SANDBOX today. But we are ready now for our item round number 1 in Mine Magma Cavern. Kickstart our first round of item here in Magma Cavern. As we see Liiv SANDBOX, they do have a 75% track winning rate in their pocket.
Again, I want to talk really quickly about the cart builds for both of these teams coming into item mode, as we have a bit of a difference in terms of theory crafting here. Now, Liiv Sandbox, they're playing with most of their racers prioritizing speed and acceleration as opposed to boost. Jimin has 8 points in total in speed, Youngsu 6 in speed, Hyunsu Dalda as well, 6 in speed. Not very many in boost, whereas ROX Esports right now, you know, Ding, Jung, Dutzy, Plancy, at most they have 4 points in total in speed and acceleration. They're really prioritizing the boost. So once we come down to lap number 3 on this track and also the upcoming tracks as we get to the last laps, you have to think about that. The nitrous coming out of ROX Esports is going to be much more powerful than Liiv Sandbox, but Liiv Sandbox over the course of the entire track should be able to get a little bit of a tempo edge given their cart build.
Absolutely. Despite the nerf coming in from Magnet here in Preseason 2, the Nitrous has been a very strong item nonetheless, still when combined with the Magnet as well. But Liiv Sandbox Dalda, he's running away right now. Where is he?
I mean, this comes back down to the build a little bit. He's got 6 points right now in speed, so he's a lot faster than any of the racers on Seongnam ROX, and as a result, he is absolutely shipping it. Has 2 shields as well. As Thunderbolts do come in, he should be able to deflect at least one of those. There's a lot of distance to be found, and even some aggression being absorbed right now. ROX Esports, it feels like they are scrambling to try and get control of Dalda.
Absolutely, they're trying that right here, but they are so far away.
Oh, that water balloon too.
They get locked out by the water bomb there, State. That is so huge.
And Jimin, once again, carrying over the momentum from speed mode. Is LSB is just firing on all cylinders. These attacks are relentless, and Dalda's going to just finish this across this finish line undisturbed. I mean, look at the distance between him and basically everybody else. This kind of goes back to the cart body. Dalda right now running with 6 points in speed. The fastest racer on Seongnam ROX is Ding and Plancy, and they have 2 points in speed, 2 in acceleration. So for Liiv Sandbox, at least on this track, I mean, Dalda absolutely running away with it. He was able to absorb all the aggro with shields, it felt like. Seongnam ROX unable to really get him under control as everybody retired besides Dalda.
That's how big of a lead he had.
I mean, it's just crazy. Dalda absolutely, you know, we rarely see this happen in item mode where one racer is able to break away like this, but when it happens, it can be very powerful. The UFO's unable to connect there with Seongnam ROX as they just didn't have enough of them. You know, the lightnings were mitigated by Liiv Sandbox, and the attacks from Jimin, Byungsu, and Hyunsu were so solid from this roster that ROX Esports, I mean, the water balloons, they just kept getting caught in them.
Yeah, the item ace Dalda here for Liiv Sandbox really coming in clutch already here in round 1, so it makes you just really excited to see what more they can bring us, because keep in mind, if Liiv Sandbox wins an item, we won't have an ace match. Liiv Sandbox will just win.
It'll just be a straight up 2-0. They will book their ticket to the grand finals. And guys, keep in mind that this is the upper bracket finals. It is not win or go home. The loser of this series will play against the KWANGDONGFREECS. That match will decide who will meet the winner in the final match.
Absolutely. We can see the fans for Sandbox here. To the moon. Let's shoot up
to
there.
The moon. I like that one. That one's in English.
Yeah, you can read that one very
Neil
easily.
can read it too. the global community can rally behind
Absolutely.
that kind of sign. I'm sure Neil can like peek behind his monitor, get some nice little cheerfuls right there.
Yeah, there's no surprise to see a fan for Ding as well. A player that's had so much success here, bringing Seongnam ROX all the way into the postseason.
Seongnam ROX looking really solid overall so far here. This KDL, of course, the first seed, but Liiv Sandbox looking so good. And a lot of the pro teams, as well as the fans, gave the edge in the polls to Liiv Sandbox coming into this one. It wasn't quite as dominating as, you know, the FREECS versus Sensation,
Right.
which was about 2/3 of players and teams supporting the FREECS over Sensation. But still, LSB with a lot of edge here. We get a replay, and I want to see exactly where the breakaway starts for LSB. As Dalda, you see the UFO pop right there, but the water balloons and the attacks on ROX Esports were just so good.
Yeah, the water bombs. I love it. And this is what allowed State to really solidify his lead. We've seen a UFO successfully slow him down earlier, but even that wasn't enough because the members of Seongnam ROX that were trying to catch up kept getting caught out by water wisps and water bombs.
Yeah, and you know, the scary thing is we have a quick tech pause here for an audio issue, is that Dalda isn't even the fastest racer on Liiv Sandbox with his cart body. Jimin is actually running a 7.160, so he has 8 points in total in speed in a sense. As you know, speed and acceleration, they do work very similarly here.
Yeah,
and
look at that
Kart Rider
drawing.
Drift. Yeah, it's a nice drawing, but The thing is, you know, Liiv SANDBOX, they can come back to this strategy on another track later on in item mode, and it might work. It might be Jimin, who could be the racer for LSB, that could break away and just absolutely run away with this thing. You know, this is something that is different given the builds. It seems like the audio issue has been resolved. All our gamers are ready to go. LSB up 1-0 here in item mode as we move to track number 2. It's going to be Desert Sphinx's Riddle. Off we go in the desert. Which of these teams will solve the Sphinx's riddle and carry their team to a victory?
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. I used that once before, but I don't think I was casting with you, so I get to use it again.
Oh yeah, it's definitely my first time hearing that one, so it feels very refreshing as we see right now. Not really any items noteworthy to hang on to. There it is though.
Yeah.
Still on the side of ROX.
Yeah, the first really big team play item coming through for ROX Esports is going to be the Angel Shield, and we always keep our eyes on those because these items, Angel Shields and Lightnings especially, are so good at really solidifying combination plays at the end of the game. And oh my goodness, Dalda again trying to run away with this one a little bit. He actually has double shield too. UFO pops, I think if I'm not mistaken, that one got EMP'd. So actually wasn't following the item usage list there on the left side, but still, Dalda, that magnet did slow him down a little bit. The lead's not quite as substantial as it once was, but it is fun to see LSB kind of going back to this one yet again, as Dalda absolutely does get the win taken out of him there.
Yeah, I love seeing this attempt from Dalda here after that round 1. It's absolutely possible to make it happen 2 times in a row, but it's hard because of all these items, like the missiles, the UFOs that's going to come out. Dalda, he's able to shield out that third one, but he's still slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, and again, this does come back a lot to the cart bodies here, where the ROX Esports not prioritizing speed or acceleration very much, just leaning very heavily in the boost. And so LSB perhaps noting that as a part of weakness here. And ROX Esports' plan is ROX Esports, over the course of this entire series, are going to have to do their best job to really just mitigate any possible breakaway position that LSB might have. And Dalda, yeah, he is in first place, and finally Jutsi will catch up to him. But you know what? He's done his job. He's eaten so much aggro, and ROX Esports, they've had to focus so hard on keeping him under control.
Absolutely. Dalda, he just keeps getting attacked after attack. He may have been attacked more than 10 times in this race alone. Now, Jutsi trying to take the lead, but that barricade is going to set him back.
A nice barricade right there. It takes a lot of the wind out of Jutsi's sails. That water balloon a little bit too far. Doesn't quite connect with the Byung-Soo duo for Liiv SANDBOX, and now Ding in the lead. Jong also with a lightning, or not a lightning, excuse me, a magnet and a nitrous. Only 400 meters left to go. These items are going to get popped right now. Lightning comes through. Angel Shield will dispel it. Dalda actually trying to break away, but Jimin on the outside. Dalda took up all the aggro, and Jimin was able to go undisturbed on the right side as LSB picks up their second track win in a row here in item mode.
That's the benefit of having 2 item aces, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jimin was the item ace for Liiv SANDBOX in Preseason 1. Of course, now he is a hybrid player for this team, but
yep,
you could see the experience shining through for LSB here in item mode.
Absolutely, taking it 2-0 right now, and of course, because it's a best of 7, we do have more matches to be played. It's not going to be a match point just yet, but based on the form that we've seen from Liiv SANDBOX, it feels like we're just racing right now to a 2-0 finish potentially for Liiv SANDBOX here against Seongnam ROX. You know, earlier on today, Liiv SANDBOX, they said, we're gonna make you repeat that day when you lost to us. The memories are gonna come back to you, and so far, Liiv SANDBOX, they are absolutely delivering that.
Absolutely, LSB is playing fantastic right now. I mean, not just in speed mode, but in item mode. The team synergy is just off the charts. As ROX Esports, they do look good. I mean, these item mode races, with the exception of track number 1, I guess we've only raced 2, so track number 2, it was very close coming down to the finish line, and in speed as well.
Yep.
It felt like it was very close because it was a 4-2 overall in the series, but Liiv SANDBOX does just seem to be on another level.
It might be that hair buff for Byung-Soo. I noticed he dyed his hair, and I am loving it, and it seems to be improving his gameplay here, but we are ready for our round 3 now. It is going to be held in Desert Pharaoh's Pass. Kickstart our item round 3 in Pharaoh's Pass, where ROX They do have a 100% win rate on this track thus far. Liiv SANDBOX, they are at a 0.
LSB with a 2-0 lead right now, feeling very comfortable, just 2 track wins away from booking a ticket to the grand final of KDL Preseason 2, as ROX Esports is going to have to do a better job at controlling the flow of LSB here in item mode. You know, Dalda, both in track number 1 and in track number 2, did a fantastic job of kind of running away with that thing. And track number 1, it was able to deliver a win. And track number 2, Dalda wasn't the man to cross the finish line for LSB, but he absorbed so much aggro and was even the fixating point for ROX Esports right before that finish line.
Absolutely. Dalda is the MVP right now for Liiv SANDBOX and item mode thus far. Once again, opting for that strategy of trying to be in the front. That missile is going to connect onto Ding. It's going to buy him a lot of time here to move forward.
But these attacks coming through on Ding means that Dalda, well, I say that, then he gets UFO'd. He could start to break away a little bit again, but a lot of these attacks coming through and connecting with LSB Dalda means that
4 in a row.
Ding, and Jong will be able to close the distance. And yeah, that is 4 attacks, but keep in mind, like, the tempo this gives LSB, keep in mind, all of their carts are faster than the carts of the ROX racers. So Dalda absorbing all of this aggro means that LSB is going to be gaining a lot of tempo just because he's kind of the punching bag right now, right? And you can see that manifesting with Hyunsu and Byungsu now in position 1 and 2.
But Dalda, he lost all tempo off that jump, getting targeted out by a missile there. That is going to be unfortunate now. Liiv SANDBOX, they need to adjust. Dalda, he's on shot calling duty. Hyunsu, he's holding on to a lightning.
Yeah, Hyunsu does have a lightning here. If we do a quick inventory, seems like we have a lightning on both teams. Hyunsu with his own. Planzy, the item ace for ROX Esports, has an item as well. And he's in first place, so his job is mostly going to be absorbing aggro and just trying to set up here with this lightning play.
Absolutely. Planzy, he's also holding on to a lightning of his own along with the EMP wave. There's an angel there for Byungsu. However, Seongnam ROX, they're not able to use it to block the lightning.
So many attacks coming in. As you can see, Ding, with a massive boost right there from that Nitrous, is able to gain a lot of momentum. And actually double attacks coming in on Byungsu and Hyunsu, but they still have enough momentum to cross that finish line first. It seems like the game plan here for Liiv SANDBOX in item mode is much more solid than what ROX is bringing to the table.
Yeah, the Su duos delivering that 3rd item round win for Liiv SANDBOX here. And I was worried when I saw Dalda fall all the way into the bottom ranks because it felt like a lot of the strategy was centralized around Dalda being that lead player. But Liiv SANDBOX, they're able to adapt to their new situation so well. In fact, coming in 1-3, not that it matters, but it just shows the dominance they've had on that race.
And I think it also shows the tempo that they have as a team because Dalda absorbs so much of the aggro over the majority of that map, and also their carts just generally being faster with the exception of Nitrous is very good for them so far. You know, ROX Esports, if you can set up a combination play where you come through with Nitrous and a Magnet there at the finish line and maybe have some Angel Shields to back your racers up, it could be very dangerous for your opponents. But so far, they haven't really been able to keep tempo with Liiv SANDBOX and set up that combination play up. I mean, they've just been struggling really to keep up throughout the entirety of almost every single track. As we're going to move to track number 4, World Tour London Night. We'll see if Liiv SANDBOX is going to close this one out with a 4-0 here in item mode, or if ROX Esports can start the fight back. Match point here in item mode and set point as well. Should Liiv SANDBOX win here on World Tour London Night or any of the remaining tracks in item mode, they will be booking the first ticket to the grand finals.
Absolutely. It's going to be a chaotic race here in London Night, as it usually is. Byungsu, he is sitting up there with double shields. It feels like Liiv SANDBOX, they actually managed to pick up quite a lot of shields in the beginning, but that does mean ROX. On the other hand, they get a lot of magnets, which I feel is a very strong item here in London Night.
Yeah, but so far they haven't really been able to make those magnets work for them. You would think that with magnets, they would be able to mitigate a little bit this speed bonus that Liiv SANDBOX is playing for, but as of yet, just it really hasn't been able to manifest into anything substantial here for the ROX Esports team. And so we'll see what Seongnam ROX is able to come through with here. Lap number 2, looks like Jong already has a lightning bolt in his back pocket. That is the first big team play item that is on the board right now. Now, when is he going to use it? That's what I have to wonder.
Maybe in lap 3 at this rate, it seems like, as we see Byungsu is racing. Wait, Jong, he manages to get up on that shortcut. It's not too big yet, but it's still a nice momentum boost.
That's a nice boost right there as well, coming out of that shortcut. So, oh, and then he gets abducted. All that hard work for naught.
The aliens, take them away from me.
Yeah, and now it's Byung-Soo for Liiv SANDBOX is running away a little bit. So a magnet.
Ooh,
Oh, Jimin with a
Jimin.
magnet body block. That was a sick play coming out of the former item ace on LSB.
That's why he's the ace.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
And
But
a nice water bomb as well there.
yeah, Ding, Ditzy, and Dalda right now all contesting these top 3 spots. As ROX Esports and LSB fighting back and forth. And there isn't an Angel Shield on the side of LSB, so this Lightning Bolt might actually be able to carry ROX Esports to a victory here should they time it right.
Absolutely, there's an Angel on the side of ROX as well. As we see right now, Ding, he absorbs with the shield beautifully. Dalda and Hyunsoo, they're gonna get stopped out by the Lightning here, but Hyunsoo has such a big lead, he doesn't even need his magnet.
Yeah, wow, and you can see right there on the cameras, Liiv SANDBOX so happy to get the 4-0 sweep here in item mode as they came prepared. 4-2 win an item, or 4-2 win in speed, excuse me. 4-0 an item as their game plan worked to perfection and they are booking their first ticket, or the first ticket, I should say, to the grand finals next weekend. Congratulations to Liiv SANDBOX. I mean, they played out of their minds today. The teamwork, by far the best that we had out of any of the 4 teams competing today.
Yeah, if you ask anyone who watches Kart Rider Drift League, you always expect Liiv SANDBOX up in the finals. I think that's what everyone would say, and no surprising that they're able to do it here again in preseason 2, despite going through a rather disastrous roster rebuilding. You don't want to do that so suddenly, but Liiv SANDBOX, they were able to do that pretty successfully, picking up Byung-Soo, Dalda, and I feel like this roster, honestly, is just shining brilliantly here in preseason 2.
It's looking so good. It feels like this roster on Liiv SANDBOX has been competing together for a very, very long time. But as the head coach of Liiv SANDBOX right there is very happy with his victory. But for LSB, I mean, they just seem to gel so well, and that has to come down to the leadership of the veterans they have on their team.
Yep.
And you got to be proud of them in this moment. They just synergized so much. And for Seongnam ROX, you got to go back to the drawing board because you're going to be going up against the KWANGDONGFREECS later to decide who's going to go to the grand finals.
That is such a nightmarish matchup, going against Liiv SANDBOX and then the KWANGDONGFREECS. But here in the upper bracket finals, it was Liiv SANDBOX closing it out in speed and item in a 2-0 overall. Outstanding fashion. And when I saw Jung leave the stage there, my mind instantly was, the ace match king. He's walking away without getting to play his ace match.
It hurts here as we get a quick look at the postseason, how it shook out. Of course, the Freaks eliminating Sensation there in the lower bracket finals will emerge victorious to fight ROX Esports in the final deciding match, which will decide who will go on to play against Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, that's going to be a super exciting match that we are going to have tomorrow. That is going to be Sunday, the same time, always here on KDL Global.
Yeah, and it should be a very exciting one, too. I mean, ROX Esports, they didn't look that great, especially in item mode here against Liiv SANDBOX, but they're the #1 seed coming into this postseason for a very good reason. I mean, they are rock solid from top to bottom, and that's not just a play on words. They really are that good. And you got to think that coming up against KWANGDONGFREECS, they're going to be playing very well tomorrow, and I don't know quite who's going to take that one.
Yeah, honestly, me too. It feels like KWANGDONGFREECS, they're kind of like the safe bet given that they're the defending champions, but they did really struggle in the main stages. They were having a rough time with the item matches, and then the ace matches didn't really go so much in their way either.
It was very close. It was very close in that ace match, and they look solid in team speed, but Seongnam ROX is one of the best team speed teams that we have here in the KDL, and although they didn't show it today, they are still very good in item mode. I think just the builds coming out of the team, maybe a little bit of a mismatch there between Seongnam ROX and Liiv SANDBOX.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way. I mean, the tempo that Liiv SANDBOX had with their faster cart builds,
right,
it mitigated any kind of wombo combo play that Seongnam ROX was going for with a big emphasis on boost. I mean, you could see that in track #1 with, I think it was it Dalda that absolutely ran away with that thing? I think it was Dalda, right? It was Dalda on track 1 and track 2 who just absorbed so much aggro, and in track #1 he was able to cross, like, it felt like he almost lapped everybody. He made everybody retire. It felt like he was going to lap the entire lobby.
He retired 7 pros.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the first time in KDL history.
So it feels like a little bit of a mismatch in that regard. I wouldn't be surprised if the pros and also their coaching staff went back to the drawing board and decided to come up with something a little bit different for the next finals.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Liiv SANDBOX really now stepping up in that item mode. We kept hyping them up. Double item aces, the only team right now. Where's their item mode at? And today, I think they shut out all that white noise and said, we are one of the best item mode teams here in the KDL.
Now let's take a quick look at the match results from today as we started our first day of the postseason, and now we have a pretty good idea of how things are shaping up. KWANGDONG of course, with that 4-0 win in speed, but Sensation fighting back to force the ace match. Unfortunately, Hojin, the Emperor, unable to beat the speed ace on the FREECS, as the FREECS will emerge victorious from the lower bracket semifinals to move on to the lower bracket finals.
Yeah, that was a really nice win there for World. He's going to have a lot more confidence now going up against their next opponent as a team, Seongnam ROX. And I feel like Seongnam ROX is a team that's known for being good at ace matches, but so is KWANGDONGFREECS. So we are really excited to see that matchup between them potentially go all the way down to the ace match.
Yeah, it should be very good, but I'm a little bit surprised at how these results went, especially considering both the FREECS and Seongnam ROX got 4-0'd in item mode.
Right.
Now they're going to have to meet tomorrow and
Right.
face each other. Neither of a team got a single track win here in item, so you have to wonder what the takeaway is going to be, because I'm sure these teams are going to go with their coaching staff and study the VODs and try and come up with the best game plan to win tomorrow to secure their ticket to meet LSB in the grand finals.
The takeaway may be we may not be as good as Liiv, SANDBOX, and item mode, but we're still better than you.
Yeah, that might actually be the takeaway.
Yeah, both teams are really looking forward to that in their next matchup. But of course, we just had this matchup between Liiv, SANDBOX, and Seongnam ROX. Freshly finished. Very one-sided. Liiv, SANDBOX coming in dominant fashion today.
Yeah, and although the speed mode felt like it was very one-sided, ROX Esports, they did still get those 2-track wins when they were able to disrupt the machine that is LSB. But I gotta say, the team play, I mean, team is really the story of the day here for Liiv SANDBOX, as the sweeping was out of control in set number 1, and even in set number 2, the way they were able to share aggro and also, you know, allowed their item ace to just run away with that thing by backing them up with non-stop aggression was so clutch. It was very refreshing to see. And Liiv SANDBOX, they seem stronger than ever, which is incredible considering how much they had to retool and re-kit and go back to the drawing board before coming into KDL Preseason 2.
Yeah, this was a really nice way for Hyunsu to make up for his performance, because I know in the solo matches, he's been having a bit of a rough time there. But today in team matches, he was able to perform and bring his team to victory. And of course, our next match tomorrow on Sunday, July 16th, is going to feature Seongnam ROX versus KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, Seongnam ROX versus KWANGDONGFREECS. One of those teams will be eliminated into 3rd place. One of them will go on to meet LSB in the grand finals of team match next week. And of course, the round of 16 finals match for solos as well. Hero, Looning, Cool, Neil, Zitzi, Sungbin, Hojin, and Jung.
My goodness.
We have some legends right now. We have a lot of speed aces. I mean, that's going to be a thrilling match to watch.
Yeah, that's why it's called the round of 16 finals match. And this is why we love being in the postseason, because we've been building up for this moment, and all the players that we know and love are competing at the highest level.
Yeah, everything led to this, and now we're only getting the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and you can see it right here in the round of 16 finals match. I mean, it's only the round of 16. It's not even the grand finals in solos, but I mean, it very might as well could be, looking at the lineup that they have in terms of players. I mean, Hero and Looning have been stunning so far in this season. I mean, their teams, they might have not made it all the way to the postseason, but individually they were superb. And then, of course, you have the global legend Neil, Dutzy, he played well today, Sungbin, Hojin, Jung, and Cool as well. I mean, it just goes without saying how talented these guys are, and it's going to be a very star-studded solo match finals, I got to say.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one, because today we've had some really exciting team matches, but it would be nice to see some solos as well.
Guys, we're going to be back again tomorrow with those matches you just saw at 6 p.m. KST, same time, same place. We'll see you then.